Naruto God Level System, Chapter 101-120. Chapter 101 Onoki's Stratagem. At this time, Hyuga-chen was already famous in the ninja world. Killing 7,000 ninjas in one blow shocked the entire ninja world. Various titles are also placed on his head, such as God of Destruction, Demon of Ninja World, New Ninja Shira, Butcher, and so on. He is also called the Devil the most, especially the villages of Omegakure, Iwagakure and Sunagakure, all of whom regard Hyuga-chen as a devil. As the ones who have seen Hyuga-chen's strength, they are also the ones who have the right to speak. Now every time they have nightmares, the protagonist in it is Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen has left an indelible shadow in their hearts. Of course, there are also those who are dismissive, thinking that it is too exaggerated to kill 7,000 ninjas with one blow, and it is simply the villages of Iwagakure, Sunagakure and Omegakure who are making excuses for their incompetence. A 10-year-old ninja can kill 7,000 ninjas. It's killing 7,000 ants. Anyway, there are a lot of people who don't believe it. They who have never seen the real scene can't think of how to destroy 7,000 ninjas with one blow. Not only the names of Hyuga-chen, such as Konoha San 12 Ninja, and Konoha White Fang, these names have also spread. Hatake Sakumo's title of Konoha White Fang was actually passed on before Hyuga-chen was on the battlefield. And the name of Konoha Sanin is the result of Hanzo of the Salamander's spontaneous propaganda these days. In order to make his face look better, Hanzo deliberately let people publicize how strong Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya are. He was chased and beaten by Tsunade was seen by many people. In order to protect his own reputation, he had to raise the name of Orochimaru and the others. And Hanzo also deliberately publicized that the name of Konoha Sanin was given by Hanzo, which made Hanzo not only not ashamed, but also made himself a face. Although some manipulations allowed him to save face, Hanzo didn't show any complacence at all. He is now frowning and breaking up. The meaning of Hanzo is that the two of you are so arrogant that you can't bring Lousy at all, and Lousy won't play with you anymore. Of course, Onoki and the third generation of Kazekage disagreed. The war did not benefit, but was beaten violently and suffered heavy losses. Naturally, the two of them could not give up. Hanzo, you have to think clearly. You can quit now without saying that you want to quit. Konoha is still waiting to bite us with his mouth open. You want to quit, do you think it is possible? It wasn't the two of you who pulled me on board. Hanzo looked angrily at Onoki and the third Kazekage. We are grasshoppers on a rope now. If you leave us, you will be the first person to clean up in Konoha village. 3 generations of Kazekage said lightly. Onoki looked at Hanzo with contempt, with a look of contempt. In Onoki's view, Hanzo was a coward, and he didn't know how he was named a demigod. That in mind, Onoki felt like it was possible. With a sad face, Hanzo got on their pirate ship and can't get off now. What do you guys say? Now your people, Jinchuriki column, are beaten like dogs, and one was beaten to death. How can they resist Hyuga-chen? Hanzo gave them a problem. This is also the reason why Hanzo wants to quit. Hanzo has already decided that if the two can't come up with a solution, he still has to quit, and the big deal is to compensate Konoha for something. Onoki and 3 generations of Kazekage were stumped. Especially Onoki's face turned black with a swish. The 5-tailed Jinchuriki column Lehen died, and the 5 tails disappeared. Their Iwagakure village suffered the most. Tailed beasts disappeared, they lost a nuclear weapon in Iwagakure village, and when Onoki got the news, they all passed out. The village of Kumogakure has already sent me a message, and they agreed to send troops to Konoha, but they want half of the benefit afterwards, Onoki said in a deep voice. What? Those guys in Kumogakure village are too greedy. 3 generations of Kazekage jumped up angrily. It's about half at once, this is the lion's big mouth. They didn't pay attention to them at all. Do we have any other options now? Onoki said helplessly. When he received the letter, he was also very angry, and even broke a few cups to vent. Then Kumogakure village is so cheap. 3 generations of Kazekage were very unwilling. It's okay to promise them, without the help of Kumogakure village, can we defeat Konoha with Hyuga-chen? 3 generations of Kazekage are speechless. Not only do we have to agree to their unreasonable demands, but we also have to help them, take a quarter of our supplies and give them to them. Onoki's eyes flashed. Onoki, you're crazy. 3 generations of Kazekage looked at Onoki like a madman. HMPH. This old man eats more salt than you eat. I do this naturally for my own purposes. Onoki said unhappily. Although the 3 generations of Kazekage are not happy with Onoki's leaning on the old and selling the old, they still want to listen to Onoki's advice. The materials given to them are not given for nothing. The condition is that their Kumogakure village will do their best. Now most of Konoha's ninjas are gathered here, and they can't resist Kumogakure village at all. 3rd generation of Kazekage was unhappy and said, isn't it still Kumogakure village that benefits from this? Onoki said dissatisfiedly. I haven't finished, what are you in a hurry? Young people today are just too impatient. Kumogakure village is attacking the country of fire like a broken bamboo. Konoha will definitely send someone to defend, and if you want to stop the powerful Kumogakure village, Hyuga-chen is the best choice. If you want to get more benefits, 063 should let them pass the Hyuga-chen level first. A sinister smile appeared on Onoki's face. Okay, if it weren't for Hyuga-chen, we would still be afraid of Konoha. 3 generations of Kazekage slapped the table and stood up, a smile on his face. The past few days, he didn't even dare to fight, and he could only endure the harassment and sneak attacks of Konoha, but the 3 generations of Kazekage were suffocated. Why didn't they dare to fight? Wasn't it because they were afraid of Hyuga-chen? Without Hyuga-chen, with the advantage of the number of people, they could press Konoha to fight, and they might not be able to make a profit at that time. Although Hyuga-chen killed 7,000 ninjas with one move, Onoki and the others still had the upper hand in terms of the number of ninjas. After all, they were a coalition, and Konoha was fighting alone. If Hyuga-chen is really transferred, it's not impossible to fight. Hanzo of the Salamander nodded. Reason why he was clamoring to quit is because Hyuga-chen's strength is too pervert, and the Omegakure village together, there are more than 7,000 ninjas, which is not enough for Hyuga-chen to fight. Hanzo must be thinking about quitting. Everything is done according to what Tsuchikage said. Anyway, I am not willing to surrender after more than a month of fighting, and I have no face to surrender. 3 generations of Kazekage were determined to follow Onoki's plan. Although the material sent out made him feel distressed, once he bites a piece of Konoha's meat, he will earn more than 1 or 2 points. Thinking of the rich country of fire, the 3 generations of Kazekage will drool. Chapter 102 Kumogakure goes to war. Father, Iwagakure village and Sunagakure village, how could they be so kind and actually support us with a batch of supplies? Could it be some conspiracy? Said the future 4th generation Reikage. I don't know, but our Kumogakure village is not afraid of any conspiracy. This time Konoha is at war with Onoki and the others. It is a good time to attack the rear of the country of fire. It must not be missed. 3 generations of Reikage shook his head and said. Originally, the 3rd generation of Reikage wanted to attack the land of the land, but after Onoki's letter and the fact that he was really jealous of the resources of the land of fire, he turned and aimed at the land of fire. Send troops, attack the land of fire with thunder, don't give Konoha a chance to breathe. 3rd generation of Reikage took the 3,000 ninjas of Kumogakure village lightly into battle, set off first, and then let Reikage assist Dodai, and followed with the follow-up 5,000 Kumogakure. 3rd generation of Reikage wanted to take advantage of Konoha's unresponsiveness and bite down a piece of meat first. Because they were traveling lightly, and the weakest of the 3,000 ninjas was Chunin, they moved very fast. In just 5 days, they arrived at the border between the land of fields and the land of fire. They are going to attack the land of fire from the land of fields. After a rest, the 3rd generation of Reikage took the lead and attacked the country of fire with 3,000 ninjas. Konoha ninja guarding the border was killed by Kumogakure before he had time to react. Not a single life was left, and no information was passed on. Then the 3 generations of Raikage led the army into the country of fire and plundered a lot of resources. The wealth of the country of fire made the 3 generations of Raikage smile. By the time Konoha received the news, the 3 generations of Raikage had already established a firm foothold in the land of fire, surprising Homura Mitokado and Kaharu Utatane. So Homura Mitokado did not have time to communicate with the 3 generations of Hokage on the battlefield, so he summoned the ninjas in the village. Because of the critical situation now, the Uchiha clan had to be used. Homura Mitokado asked the Uchiha clan leader to command the ninja army, and brought 4,000 Konoha ninjas to meet Kumogakure. Most of the 4,000 ninjas belonged to the major families of Konoha, and there was no way out. Now that Konoha's family has been emptied, they can only rely on those big families. Now there are only a few hundred ninja guards left in the Konoha village, and all the others have been dispatched, which can be said to be the weakest time inside. If the village of Kurigakure in the land of water were to step in, Konoha would be doomed. After dispatching ninjas to face Kumogakure, Homura Mitokado hurries to deliver a message to Sarutobi Hiruzen. When Sarutobi Hiruzen received the news, the original smile on his face disappeared. Originally, he was happy because Konoha suppressed the enemy ninja. Now a basin of cold water is poured down, and the good mood disappears immediately. The village of Kumogakure joined the war, and also fought against their Konoha, making Sarutobi Hiruzen gray with worry. Kumogakure village is known as the village with the strongest military power. With 4,000 ninjas, a force that does not have a cage-level leader, can they win? Although it was night time, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't care less and called all the high-end forces including Jonin for a meeting overnight. But Tsunade and Hyugachin didn't come. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that because of the Senju clan, his teacher-student relationship with Tsunade had almost disappeared. So I asked Tsunade to come here because I didn't want to, because if I called it, I wouldn't necessarily come, and Hyuga-chen was the same, so I wouldn't necessarily give him face. You all know the specifics, let's discuss what to do now. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a sip from the bong to hide the sad look on his face. Those bastards in Kumogakure village are simply taking advantage of others' danger. Jiraiya yelled. We can't divide our troops to support us now. If it wasn't for Hyuga-chen, we would still be suppressed now. Orochimaru said indifferently. Give me 1,000 ninjas, and I'll take someone to beat Kumogakure back. Danzo stood up and said. If Danzo wants to be Hokage, he must have a lot of credit. If he can lead the Konoha ninja to defeat Kumogakure, he will not only have credit, but also have great prestige. I have to say that Danzo's abacus is very loud. But no one believes him at all. The 3 generations of Raikage's powerful ninja know that even Sarutobi Hiruzen is not sure to win him, and Danzo is even less qualified. Unless it's Hyuga-chen, no one can hold down Kumogakure village. Kumogakure village has more than one Raikage, 8 tails second only to Kyubi, 9 tails and 1 second tail. Orochimaru said indifferently. This is the best choice, otherwise even if Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo go together, they are no match for Kumogakure village. But the question now is, will Hyuga-chen go? After discussing for most of the night, they also came up with a reliable option, which is to let Hyuga-chen go to the battlefield with Kumogakure village. And if you want to get Hyuga-chen to shoot, you can only find Tsunade. Early the next morning, Sarutobi Hiruzen approached Tsunade cheekily, and finally moved out of Tsunade's grandfather, Senju Hashirama, before he moved Tsunade. Tsunade agreed to talk to Hyuga-chen, and it's up to Hyuga-chen whether to go or not. Sarutobi Hiruzen also nodded. Tsunade's talk was better than his. Hyuga-chen never gave him face. Kumogakure village actually went to war with Konoha. Hyuga-chen looked at Tsunade in surprise. That's right. The 3rd generation asked me to be a lobbyist, but the key is still up to you. If you don't want to go, forget it. Tsunade nodded and said. What do you think? Hyuga-chan asked. Me. Tsunade pointed to himself, then said, actually, I still want you to go. Although I'm ready to leave Konoha after the war is over, I still don't want Konoha to be destroyed before I leave. As for the future, it's up to Konoha, not me. Then I'll go. Anyway, my Kumogakure village has the tailed beast chakra that I want to collect. Hyuga-chen said indifferently. Thank you, Chen. Tsunade looked at Hyuga-chen with emotion. Do we need to say thank you? Hyuga-chen leaned over and kissed Tsunade's pretty face. Tsunade's face suddenly glowed with Yuhi, looking at Makoto and Kushina who were snickering beside him, and Konan who covered his eyes and peeked through his fingers. Tsunade became even more shy, and even wanted to punch Hyuga-chen in embarrassment. This time I'm going to Kumogakure's battlefield. I'll take Konan with me, and let Makoto and Kushina stay. When you go to the battlefield, the three of you will be together. I'll be more at ease. Hyuga-chen said softly. With Makoto's Susanoo protection, plus Makoto's pervert pupil art, which is nothing but nothing, plus Kushina's powerful attack and wide range of rock berries, Hyuga-chen will also feel at ease. Okay. I've wanted to go to the battlefield for a long time. Kushina said excitedly. Chen, you have to be careful too. Makoto said softly. If you can't beat it, don't push hard. Konoha's position in my heart is not as good as yours. If you are in danger, leave. Tsunade said with a serious expression. Don't worry, you don't know my strength yet. Even if the Six Paths Immortals are here, I can guarantee undefeated. Hyuga-chan said with a smile. Chapter 103 Become a Commander to Avenge Private Revenge. After eating, Hyuga-chan said goodbye to Tsunade and the others, took Konan away from the battlefield, and went to the battlefield with Kumogakure. Konan is definitely going to be brought. Konan has just refined chakra, and his strength is a little stronger than ordinary people. Makoto and the others are difficult to take care of Konan when they are on the battlefield. Only with her Hyuga-chan can you feel relieved. Hyuga-chan travels very fast, so he can directly use space teleport to travel. As long as it is within Hyuga-chan's line of sight, he can teleport directly. And Hyuga-chan's Tensegan can have a panoramic view of the radius of 100 kilometers, so in less than a minute, Hyuga-chan came to the battlefield of Konoha and Kumogakure. This is the advantage of space teleportation. If the ability of the glittering fruit is used, it will not be so fast. Uchiha looked at the sudden appearance of Hyuga-chen warily. Yo, Patriarch Uchiha, we met again. Hyuga-chen had a smile on his face, ignoring Uchiha's face, and took Konan to find a place to sit down. Breaking into the main account, you know. Hyuga-chen took out an appointment letter and threw it directly in front of Uchiha. Don't put on airs, the 3 generations have appointed me as the commander, and now this battlefield is under my control. Hyuga-chan smiled even more. Uchiha held the appointment book, his face was gloomy and terrifying, and a wave of anger accumulated in his heart. What he didn't expect was that 817, his position as coach was actually replaced, and he was replaced by a 10-year-old kid who had a conflict with him. Although I heard the rumors about Hyuga-chen, Uchiha is one of those people who don't believe it. The latest Filu Tianbang popular books plus full group files plus 10,000 online disc resources plus 800 new books per month. And the Hedgehog Cat book. This book is only for communication and learning, and the copyright belongs to the original author and publisher. If you like it, please support the genuine version. Can Hyuga-chen kill 7,000 ninjas in one hit? Can use Susanoo. What a joke, Susanoo is the exclusive power of their Uchiha family. And killing 7,000 ninjas with one hit is even more nonsense. The reincarnation of the Six Paths Immortals is not that much. The other clan chiefs in the camp had smiles on their faces. They had long seen that Uchiha was unhappy, and it was best to be replaced. The face of the Hyuga family patriarch has an even bigger smile. No matter what, Hyuga-chen is also their Hyuga family, and will eventually turn to them. I disagree. Uchiha threw the appointment letter on the table. He tilde tilde who do you think you are? Do I need your approval? Hyuga Chen sneered, and then the momentum on his body pressed towards Uchiha. Unparalleled, the aura of the mighty world was pressing on Uchiha's body, making it difficult for him to breathe, and even unable to breathe. Go away. Hyuga Chen took Conan's hand, walked to the coach's seat, and said lightly. Uncontrollable, Uchiha left the head coach position tremblingly. Hyuga Chen gave him a disdainful look, then sat in the commander's seat, and said indifferently, from today onwards, I will be the commander here. As long as I stay in this commander's position for 1 day, you must unconditionally implement the orders I give, otherwise don't blame my men for being merciless. Hyuga Chen's expression was cold, and boundless murderous aura shone through his body, covering his body. The entire camp. Cold sweat broke out on everyone's faces. At this moment, they believed that Hyuga Chen had killed 7,000 ninjas, and the bloody Yuhi murderousness that was revealed could not be deceived. Originally looked down on Hyuga Chen because of his age, didn't dare to look down on him anymore. In the world of ninjas, after all, strength speaks. Hyuga Chen did this to establish his prestige. This ninja army is almost composed of major families. If Hyuga Chen did not establish his prestige, these people would definitely violate his yin and yang. I don't know how you assigned it before, but from today, the ninjas of your two families, Uchiha and Shimura, are the pioneers and are responsible for the frontal battlefield. What? Impossible. The Shimura family jumped up. I also feel that something is wrong. The Sarutobi family retorted, their Sarutobi family and Shimura family, almost wearing a pair of pants. It seems that you Sarutobi clan have other opinions. Since that's the case, you Sarutobi clan should also join the vanguard. Hyuga-chan's horrified breath pressed the audience, making them unable to even open their mouths. You are avenging your personal revenge, Uchiha said with difficulty. That's right, I'm just avenging private revenge. If you don't agree, please bear with me, Hyuga Chen admitted indifferently. I just want to avenge my personal revenge. What can you do? Just go to the battlefield and charge me obediently. When I'm talking, I don't want you to interrupt me. Next time I won't be able to talk so well. Hyuga Chen put away the pressure and said in a flat tone. The Hyuga clan and the Aburame clan are in charge of the investigation, the Nara clan, the Akamichi clan and the Yamanaka clan are in charge of joint operations, and the Inuzuka and other clans are in charge of the side battles. Hyuga Chen indifferently ordered. Except for the three families of Uchiha, Sarutobi, and Shimura, the rest of the families were very satisfied. Only the ninjas of the Uchiha, Sarutobi, and Shimura families had a gloomy face. Especially the Sarutobi clan is even more angry. The 3 generations of Hokage are their patriarch. Hyuga Chen actually doesn't give any face. I want to know about the situation on the battlefield, who can tell me? Hyuga Chen asked. Let me tell you, the patriarch of the Nara clan stood up. Kumogakure's fighting strength is very strong, and the number of people is twice ours. We have also fought against Kumogakure several times in the past few days, and suffered heavy losses. More than 200 ninjas have been killed, 400 ninjas have been seriously injured, and... Listening to the report from the Nara clan leader, Hyuga Chen also learned a lot about the situation. In short, they were beaten badly. This is because the Konoha side did not take the initiative to attack, but passively defended, otherwise it would only be worse. Isn't it that Konoha's fighting ability is poor? A force composed of a group of family ninjas, will the fighting ability be poor? The most important thing is that there are a lot of people in Kumogakure, and there are 3 generations of Raikage who are holding the banner. On the side of Konoha, there is no one who can resist the 3 generations of Raikage who are like beasts, so they were beaten so badly. What about Kumogakure? Knowing about Konoha's situation, Hyuga-chan began to ask about Kumogakure's situation. Patriarch Nara smiled awkwardly. I don't know this very well, but the other party has 3 generations of Raikage, as well as Raikage's son and Raikage's assistant to these strong men. The third generation Raikage and Raikage's assistant Dodai are both cage-level powerhouses. The son of the third generation Raikage has inherited the title of Ai, and it has been confirmed that he will be the fourth generation Raikage in the future. Although Ai is a quasi-shadow, his combat power is not weaker than cage level. This is also the reason why Konoha was beaten. A strong cage level peak, 2 cage level fighting power, Konoha naturally can't beat. The strongest Uchiha is a fighting force comparable to cage level, maybe even the son of the third generation Raikage can't beat it. So now Konoha is about to be beaten by Kumogakure. If Hyuga-chen doesn't come, he will be beaten by Kumogakure within a month. But now that Hyuga-chen is here, that's another story. Chapter 104 Black Coffin's Second Man. Father, I heard that Hyuga-chen is coming. Third generation of Raikage frowned and began to meditate quietly. Father, don't worry, that Hyuga-chen is also famous, and most of it is bragging. A 10-year-old kid, no matter how strong he can be, I will personally unscrew his head on the battlefield. I said confidently. Don't be careless. The name of the person, the shadow of the tree. Konoha is not a fool, and being able to send Hyuga-chen over can prove his extraordinariness. 3 generations of Raikage said in a deep voice. Tomorrow and Konoha will fight, and then I will test Hyuga-chen's strength first to see if he lives up to his name. 3 generations of Raikage said with his fist clenched. He is known as the strongest spear and the strongest shield, and he has never been afraid of anyone. Although he said that he paid attention to it, in fact, he could not help but despise Hyuga-chen in his heart. I can only talk about Hyuga-chen's age. If Hyuga-chen is now 17 or 18 years old, no one would dare to despise him, but a ninja who just graduated at the age of 10 really can't be taken seriously. Early the next morning, 3 generations of Raikage took the army and launched an attack on Konoha's camp. Can't wait. Hyuga-chen took Conan's little hand and yawned. Susanoo. The huge chakra materialized and wrapped Hyuga Tatsu and Conan. Conan, watch me fight here. No one can hurt you, so my brother will leave first. Hyuga-chen patted Conan's head lightly. With full Susanoo protection, Conan will be fine. Yeah, brother, go. Conan nodded obediently, but he had already decided in his heart that he must practice well in the future, at least not to drag his brother's back. Whether it was Konoha's ninja or Kumogakure, they were all shocked by the sudden appearance of Susanoo. Susanoo, which is more than 100 meters high, is indeed daunting. Can you really use Susanoo? Uchiha's face was messed up. His family's supreme god technique could be used by foreigners. It must be said that this was a huge blow. Don't be afraid, I'll go meet him. 3 generations of Raikage roared, then rushed towards Susanoo. Raikage, be careful, Dodai said worriedly. Nothing. Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode. Hell Assault 4 books. Generation Raikage turned on the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode, covered the whole body with thunder, and then gathered the chakra on the 4 fingers and rushed towards Susanoo at the speed of lightning. Now that he has almost exerted all his strength, it can be considered that he attaches great importance to Hyuga-chen. Courtesy of death. Hyuga-chen's expression turned cold, then instantly disappeared into the crystal above Susanoo's head, and then stood in front of the 3rd generation Raikage. Light speed kick. Generation Raikage galloped over at the speed of lightning, and then flew back at a speed exceeding lightning, hitting the charging Kumogakure. There are dozens of Kumogakure killed by 3 generations of Raikage. Father, are you alright? I hurried over and helped Raikage 3 generations up. Nothing, just a few broken ribs, it's okay. The 3rd generation Raikage stood up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his hand. 3 generations of Raikage's chest collapsed a bit, which was kicked out by Hyuga-chen's speed of light kick. Because the 3rd generation of Raikage was injured, the attacking Kumogakure stopped, and the momentum was somewhat damaged. The invincible god of war in their hearts, the 3rd generation Raikage who can rival the 8 tails, is now injured, and the myth of the strongest shield has been broken, which makes Kumogakure unacceptable. I'm going to avenge my father. I squeezed his fist and was about to rush up. At this time, a big hand pressed Ai's shoulder. Don't go, you are not his opponent, and if you go, you will die. 3 generations of Reikage said lightly. There is no illusory person under the reputation, the opponent's speed is faster than me, and the strength is stronger than me. The 3rd generation Reikage looked extremely solemn. This body is really strong, even after a light speed kick from me, he can still stand. Hyuga Chen said with admiration. Lord Reikage, I'll stop him. You go and lead Kumogakure to attack Konoha ninjas. As long as you defeat Konoha, Reikage, even Hyuga Chen is useless. Style. A trash fish wants to block me too, think too much. Break the road 90 black coffin. Hyuga Chen said lightly. A huge black cube locked Dodai inside, and with a sound of swords and lights, Dodai, the cage-level powerhouse, turned into a pile of minced meat. Although Hyuga Chen gave up singing, the power of the black coffin was only less than 1/3 of the original, but it was still possible to kill a cage level with average physical strength. Dodai. 3 generations of Reikage stared blankly at the pile of minced meat. Hyuga-chan, I want you to die. 3 generations of Reikage roared, his voice resounding throughout the battlefield. The voice is indeed incomparable to me, but your strength is too poor. If you want to kill me, you are not qualified. Hyuga Chen chuckled lightly, with disdain on the corner of his mouth. Ought that. ___________. The strongest spear. Let's see how strong it is. Armed color hardened. Finger spear. Hyuga Chen was not afraid at all, and used his finger spear to stab the strongest spear, just so tough. Boom. The surrounding earth cracked countless holes. Crack. 3rd generation Reikage's finger was broken, and the finger gun was castrated unabated, and went straight to the 3rd generation Reikage's chest, leaving a blood hole in the 3rd generation Reikage's chest. If it wasn't for the 3rd generation of Reikage to avoid the heart at the critical moment, it would be time to go to the previous generation of Reikage for tea. Hyuga Chen 620 retracted his fingers, put his hands behind his back, and said indifferently, this is the most powerful spear in Legends, even one of my fingers can't stop it, but that's it. However, Hyuga Chen was just stubborn, his fingers behind his back were trembling slightly now, and his fingers were penetrating Yuhi. The 3 generations of Reikage is really not blown, although Hyuga Chen is better this time, but his fingers are also slightly injured. Hyuga Chen can only secretly blame himself for pretending to be forceful, but he can easily avoid it, but insists on fighting with the other party. Fortunately, Hyuga Chen didn't take too much and used armament hockey, otherwise his fingers would swell into carrots now. Who was pinching his broken middle finger, sweating in cold sweat and blood dripping from his chest, Hyuga-chan showed a smile on his face. With 10 fingers connected to the heart, the feeling of a broken finger is unpleasant, and the 3rd generation Reikage is really a tough guy, he just didn't say a word. That finger of yours, I'm afraid it will never be able to use one hand. Hyuga-chan smiled coldly. Hyuga-chan had already shattered all the bones of his finger, and even if he was forcibly connected, it would be a decoration in the future. The attack power of the 3rd generation Reikage was directly cut by Hyuga Chen, although it can be used with other fingers. But the middle finger of his right hand is his strongest, and now this strongest finger has been abolished by Hyuga Chen. Chapter 105 Who is for and who is against? What are you still doing? Get on me. Hyuga-chan looked at the Konoha ninja who was stunned behind him. Now that Kumogakure's morale was low, he didn't go up and beat the drowning dog, why would he have to wait for the other party to recover? Hyuga Chen's voice woke the stunned Konoha ninja, and then Uchiha took the Uchiha clan and charged towards the opponent. This time, Hyuga-chan also saw the bravery of the Uchiha family. One-on-one is almost chopping vegetables and melons. No wonder they can become one of the 2 strongest families in Sengoku, their strength is indeed strong. Hyuga Chen said in a low voice. Contrary, the performance of the Shimura family and the Sarutobi family made Hyuga-chan very dissatisfied. He ran slower than a turtle, and was simply paddling. Hyuga-chan frowned. Did you really think I wouldn't dare to take care of you? Hyuga-chan's eyes flashed coldly. When the battle is over, I'll see how I deal with you. You dare to be distracted when you fight with me, you just don't take me seriously. The third Raikage looked at Hyuga-chan, who was looking at the audience. Anger surged in his heart, and he seized the space and punched him. Hyuga-chan raised his hand to block the sneak attack of the third-generation Raikage, and then put on a gentle fist starter. Gentle fist law 8 trigrams 128 palms. A yin-yang 8 trigrams array enveloped the 3 generations of Raikage, and then the palm prints all over the sky hit the 3 generations of Raikage in an instant. Third generation Raikage was sealed, and even the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode could not be maintained, and he vomited blood and flew out. It's not over yet, gentle fist, 8 trigrams. Chakra frantically gathered in Hyuga-chan's hands, forming a huge laser beam, heading straight for the third generation Raikage, flying backwards in the air. Raikage, who was blocked by chakra and was still in the air, was hit without incident. Generation Raikage was blasted nearly 1,000 meters away, leaving a straight trace on the battlefield. And the things that blocked this trace, whether it was people or things, disappeared. 80 Gods Vacuum Attack. Countless huge vacuum fists attacked Kumogakure. Although the Kumogakure station is very scattered, there are still 600 or 700 Kumogakure that have been smashed to ashes, and the ground has also been hit with countless giant pits, as if it was attacked by countless missiles. Alas, I still can't use the full power of 80 Gods Vacuum Attack. I should be a fake 80 Gods Vacuum Attack. Although the damage caused this time is not worse than the Tailed Beast Bomb, it is still far from the 80 Gods Vacuum Attack that really destroys the world. Although Hyuga-chan was dissatisfied, Kumogakure was already terrified, and he punched them in the face with a huge punch. Next 4 generations of Raikage I looked at him, but he didn't care so much, so he quickly went to check the situation of the 3 generations of Raikage. After finding the third generation Raikage, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the third generation Raikage was not dead, but was seriously injured. On his back, I looked at the Kumogakure troops being chased and beaten by Konoha, half their number, and shouted, "Give me retreat." Kumogakure, who was still resisting, breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Hyuga-chan, who was standing in the center of the battlefield, they couldn't help but feel despair in their hearts. 3 generations of Raikage are the invincible beliefs and beliefs in their hearts, and now they are easily defeated by Hyuga-chan, causing the belief in Kumogakure's heart to collapse, and both morale and combat effectiveness are greatly reduced. It was when I saw this that he called to retreat. The only damage will be their Kumogakure. Konoha's morale is high now, they need to avoid the enemy's edge. Seeing Kumogakure retreating, Hyuga-chan said indifferently, "Stop chasing, clean up the battlefield, and then go back to camp." After speaking, Hyuga-chan used space teleportation to come to Conan's side, and asked softly, "Conan, were you scared just now?" Although Conan is far away from the battlefield, but standing high and looking far, Conan can still see the scene of the battlefield. "Don't be afraid, I know that no matter what happens, brother, you will protect me." Conan's eyes curled into a moon and Kiba smiled. "Okay, let's go back." Hyuga-chan smiled, then picked up Conan and released Susanoo. After going back, Hyuga-chan held a meeting. This time the Uchiha clan charged ahead, and they were the ones who took the most credit for killing the enemy. Unlike some people, they were simply fighting on the battlefield. Hyuga-chan looked at the Sarutobi clan and Shimura clan. Uchiha looked at Hyuga-chan, feeling a little surprised, didn't expect him to say these words. "You must know that the relationship between Hyuga-chan and the Uchiha family is not good. It would be good for him not to trouble the Uchiha family, but now he actually praises them. The next time the war starts, Uchiha will retreat to the rear, and the Sarutobi family and Shimura family will go to the front to be cannon fodder. If one person dares to retreat, the whole family will be buried," Hyuga-chan said in a cold voice. Everyone stared at Hyuga-chan in astonishment, but Uchiha's heart was dark. In fact, He hated Kiba so much that he hated these two families who paddled water. Why? The leader of the Sarutobi clan asked angrily. I don't need trash here. I feel that you are trash, so I can only let you play a role and become cannon fodder. Hyuga-chen looked at them with a sneer. Don't you like paddling? Go paddling to the front of the battlefield. What qualifications do you have? I will report to Hokage and revoke your position. Don't think that you can be arrogant with a little strength. You are nothing in front of me. Very good. Hyuga-chen's face darkened and he asked lightly, what's your name? My name is Sarutobi Ping. Sarutobi fought bravely on the level, and today he fought against the third-generation Raikage and seriously injured the third-generation Raikage. This is a great credit, Hyuga-chen said with a sly smile. Everyone looked at Hyuga-chen in amazement, not knowing what Hyuga-chen meant. And Sarutobi was complacent, thinking that Hyuga-chen was afraid of him, so he had to give him the credit. That's right. It's true that I defeated the third-generation Raikage and severely injured him. If he hadn't run fast, he would have already died in my hands. Sarutobi said proudly. You're very good. Why don't you follow me? I will be in front of Hokage in the future, and I will give you credit. Sarutobi looked at Hyuga-chen proudly. Hey tilde tilde, Hyuga-chen laughed sarcastically. Although Sarutobi Ping is brave, the strength of the third-generation Raikage cannot be underestimated. Although Sarutobi Ping seriously injured the third-generation Raikage, it is a pity that he was also screwed off by the third-generation Raikage. Hyuga-chen, what do you mean? I'm not dead yet. Sarutobi's face was ugly. You're not dead, but you're going to die soon, Hyuga-chen said with a smile. You want to kill me? Sarutobi couldn't hear what Hyuga-chen meant, and his heart was boiling with anger. I didn't want to kill you, it was the third generation of Raikage who killed you. Hyuga-chen crossed Erlang's legs with a calm expression. There are so many people watching here, how dare you kill me? It's said that the three generations of Raikage killed you, don't you understand people's words? I want to posthumously call Sarutobi a martyr, who is in favor and who opposes. Hyuga-chen asked lightly. Chapter 106 After the third generation of Raikage is broken. Listening to Hyuga-chen's indifferent words, everyone felt a chill in their hearts, and the smart people chose to remain silent. I object, you Hyuga-chen blatantly. Needless to say, you belong to the Shimura family. I won't ask you the name of this dragon suit. Now you are also one of the martyrs. Hyuga-chen waved his hand to interrupt his nonsense. Is anyone else objecting? Hyuga-chen stood up and glanced at the camp. Faced with Hyuga-chen's eyes, everyone bowed their heads. At this time, they understood that whoever stood up would be a martyr. Who is willing to be a martyr? It seems that no one has objected, then you too, dead people, should rest in peace. Instantly pulled out the ninja sword of a ninja next to him, and then before the two of them could say anything, two heads rose into the sky and blood spurted more than. This is our Konoha martyr and must be buried well, Hyuga-chen said with a smile on his lips. Looking at Hyuga-chen's smile, everyone's heart was extremely cold, and they swore that they would never provoke Hyuga-chen. This person is too cruel. They don't want to carry the title of martyr on their backs. After turning around, the coldness on Hyuga-chen's face disappeared. With a gentle smile on his face, he reached out and stroked Conan's head and asked, Conan is not afraid. Conan shook her head gently. She had seen too many dead people. In the land of rain, she could see dead people almost every day. Those who starved to death, committed suicide, or were killed, what kind of dead people have never seen before, and would not be frightened by such a scene. Hyuga-chen also understands this, so he created this bloody scene in front of Conan, of course, to exercise Conan. Although Hyuga-chen will protect Conan, he cannot make Conan a vase. Hyuga-chen glanced at everyone, not caring what they thought, pulling Conan away from the main tent, leaving the silent members of the major families behind. Uchiha has now decided that he will never go to Hyuga-chen for excitement. This kind of big devil can't be provoked without provoking it. If Sarutobi Hiruzen is a more docile rabbit, Danzo is a sinister and cunning fox, and Hyuga-chen is a fierce liger. Hyuga-chan's move, in the eyes of their patriarchs, is killing chickens and scaring monkeys and warning them to stay safe. If Hyuga-chan knew what they were thinking, he would definitely slap them in the face. What would kill a chicken or a monkey? But it was Sarutobi Ping's words that made Hyuga-chan unhappy, and then Hyuga-chan slaughtered them. However, what Hyuga-chan did frighten them. Even the Sarutobi family and Shimura family dared to kill them. They didn't leave any sympathy for the 3 generations of Hokage. Hyuga-chan dared to do something like betraying the village. There was nothing he dared not. In the ensuing war, because the 3rd generation of Raikage was seriously injured and was still in a coma, the atmosphere of Kumogakure has not been very good. And Hyuga-chen would not miss this opportunity, and sent Sarutobi and Shimura clan to constantly harass Kumogakure, and small-scale conflicts continued. However, in a large-scale conflict, because the 3 generations of Raikage are still in a coma, they dare not fight with Konoha, and try their best to avoid fighting with Konoha. With Kumogakure is deadlocked, but the deadlock is deadlocked. Hyuga-chen doesn't care anyway. If you have nothing to do, you can use the space pupil technique and go to the Rain Country battlefield to find Tsunade and the others to play. It is definitely the most leisurely one on the battlefield. Hyuga-chan didn't make a move, which also made Kumogakure relieved, otherwise they really didn't know what to do. This stalemate lasted for more than a month. The 3rd generation of Raikage also recovered from his injuries during this month, but he did not dare to rashly fight. No wonder that old fox Onoki was so kind and gave us supplies. Now it seems that he wants us to withstand the pressure of Hyuga-chen. The 3rd generation of Raikage was furious. Now their Kumogakure is in an embarrassing situation, and attacking is obviously impossible because they can't beat the opponent. It is impossible to retreat, not to mention that the 3 generations of Raikage are not reconciled. Even if they are willing to retreat, they cannot retreat. Or maybe it wasn't them who invaded the land of fire, but Konoha who invaded their land of thunder. Father, what should we do now? It's a pity that Dodai has already helped. Otherwise, he can definitely give us a good idea. Alas, exit the land of fire first and confront them in the land of fields. 3 generations of Raikage said with a sigh. Father, why don't you just give up the fertile land that you captured? I was very unwilling. The front line is too long, which is not conducive to replenishment. If Konoha cuts off our material route, we will be trapped here. 3 generations of Raikage don't want to give back the land they captured. Even if they can't get the land, they can trade with the land of fire after the war and exchange it for a lot of money. But the battle line was stretched too long, and the other side still had a powerful ninja like Hyuga-chen. If Hyuga-chen cut off their supplies, they might have to choose to lose and surrender. Everything must consider the pros and cons. Don't be blinded by the immediate interests. Forcibly guard these interests, and in the end, you will get nothing. 3 generations of Raikage said to education. Over the next few days, Kumogakure started a large-scale action, watching Konoha nervously, thinking that Kumogakure was going to fight them. But unexpectedly, Kumogakure retreated, leaving the Konoha ninja, who had already rolled up his sleeves, bewildered. Kumogakure retreated. Are they going to withdraw from this ninja war? No, Kumogakure's ambition is not small, and it will never quit so easily. Kumogakure's front is too long and has entered our country of fire. The supply side should be affected, and we cannot defeat our Kumogakure quickly. Now retreating is the best choice. Chief Nara analyzed. There is no need to discuss so much. They retreat, we will attack. Hyuga-chen said lightly. Under the command of Hyuga-chen, Konoha's ninjas kept harassing Kumogakure, which made Kumogakure very annoying, and from time to time came several large-scale storms, causing Kumogakure to lose a little bit. 3 generations of Raikage, there is no way to go on like this. As soon as we fight back, they run away, and as soon as we retreat, they stick up like brown candy again. What should we do? A quasi-video exchange in Kumogakure village reported. I'll stay behind. After thinking for a long time, the third generation of Reikage said, "No, how can the third 2.6 generation Reikage be left behind? If something happens to you, what will we do in Kumogakure village? You have to think about Kumogakure village. I've made up my mind, so I don't need to persuade." The third generation of Reikage was so stubborn that he didn't listen to advice at all. "Father, I'll stay with you." "Who wants you to stay? Hurry up and leave, you will only get in the way." The third generation Reikage scolded his son. Under the toughness of the third generation Reikage, I still left, and even the third generation Reikage did not leave a single person at all, leaving the queen alone. As a shadow of the post-broken genre, how can you stop the three generations of Reikage's heart beating without a post-broken one? Even Hyuga Chen was very stunned when he received the news, wondering if this third generation Reikage was filled with slurries. As the spiritual symbol of the village, he actually chose to break up, and I have to say that the brain circuit of the three generations of Reikage is wonderful. Chapter 107 Captive Three Generations Reikage. Three generations of Reikage, I didn't expect you to be so afraid of death. Looking at the three generations of Reikage standing in front of the Konoha unit like a mountain, Hyuga-chan walked over. Since I have become the shadow of the village, I naturally have to take responsibility and protect everyone in the village. This is my responsibility. The third generation of Reikage sounded like a thunderous voice. Hyuga-chan shook his head and said, "You know your worth. As long as you fall into my hands and become a prisoner, your Kumogakure village is at my disposal." "I will never become a prisoner," three generations of Reikage said confidently. "Although your choice is very brainless, I still give you great respect and capture three generations of Reikage for me." Hyuga-chan shrugged and shouted. The three generations of Reikage quickly started ninjutsu, shuriken, and detonating charms, and threw them towards the three generations of Reikage together. Generation Reikage turned on the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode, did not evade at all, and smashed several people of the Sarutobi family with one punch. That's right, the people who were sent by Hyuga-chan this time were the Sarutobi family and the Shimura family. There were a lot of people in the two families. But in the face of a beast like the third generation Reikage, it is not enough to watch. With one punch and one kick, several ninjas died in the hands of the third generation Reikage. Just a few minutes, dozens of corpses were already lying at the feet of the third generation Reikage. The people of the Sarutobi family and the Shimura family are now afraid, and some people even want to retreat. Whoever dares to step back will be killed without mercy. Hyuga-chan's cold and ruthless voice came. "Hyuga-chan, you are going too far. You just let us die. What grudges do our two families have with you? You have to treat us like this." Looking at the few clansmen who fell again, the new leader of the Sarutobi clan was angry and looked at Hyuga-chen with hatred. "As a member of the Hokage-sama's clan, I don't want to contribute to Konoha, but instead slander the coach with nonsense. What's the crime?" Hyuga-chan asked with a smile at the corner of his mouth, facing Uchiha next to him. This. Uchiha didn't know what to say. He didn't want to offend the Sarutobi clan. "It's all for the sake of the village. Your death is not worthless. Without you, three generations of Reikage have been exhausted. How to capture him? As the clansmen of the two leaders of Konoha, shouldn't your two clans lead the way?" Hyuga-chen's words left them speechless. Although they knew that Hyuga-chen wanted them to die, they couldn't open their mouths to refute Hyuga-chen, which made them very sad. Three generations of Reikage laughed. "I didn't expect Konoha to have such a big conflict, which is a good thing for Kumogakure." So the three generations of Reikage killed more effectively, and the ninjas of the Sarutobi family and Shimura family were desperate. Their attacks could not break the defense of the three generations of Reikage, and they were chased and killed by the three generations of Reikage. "Hyuga-chan, you really want us to be wiped out? How do you explain to Lord Hokage?" "Need an explanation. You all died for Konoha, and the three generations of Hokage should be relieved. Hyuga-chan did this for a reason. The Senju clan was attacked in the rear a few days ago, and less than 10 people were left alive. The most important thing was that they didn't know who attacked, and not even the body was left. Tsunade was very sad when he heard the news, but it was only after Hyuga-chen's constant comfort these days. According to Hyuga-chen's guess, perhaps the one who attacked the Senju family was Danzo's people. Although it was just a guess, as long as there was a guess, it was enough. Hyuga-chen didn't need evidence. To make Tsunade so sad, how could Hyuga-chen let go of Danzo and the 3 Hokage accomplices? And now that the Sarutobi clan and Shimura clan are under the jurisdiction of Hyuga-chen, then Hyuga-chen doesn't mind taking action against these 2 clans. Hyuga-chen promises that as long as it is the 2 clansmen on the battlefield, there will never be one who will return to Konoha alive. After half an hour, the ground was dyed black yuhi, and the blood pooled on the ground into a small stream, flowing slowly. Most of the ninjas of the Sarutobi and Shimura families have now been killed, but the 3 generations of Reikage are still alive and well, and they are not tired at all. I have to say that the 3rd generation Reikage is also a monster. The reason why Hyuga-chen is so strong is because of the help of the system plugin, and the 3rd generation Reikage is all on his own. Watching Sarutobi and the Shimura family die, some on Konoha's side were happy and some were sad, but no one came forward. Judging by Hyuga-chen's posture, he knew that the 2 families were going to be killed, and they would only be asking for trouble if they got involved. Hyuga-chen, you have to die, we fought against him. The Sarutobi family and the Shimura family actually put down 3 generations of Reikage, and rushed towards Hyuga-chen with bloody eyes. 8 feet Joan Tomo. Countless golden light bullets fell, and the 2 big families of Sarutobi and Shimura, accompanied by endless light bullets, completely came to an end. On the entire battlefield, as long as it was Sarutobi and Shimura's ninjas, none of them were alive, and they were all smashed into sieves by light bullets. The members of the 2 families are the old, weak, sick and disabled in Konoha village, and the 2 big families of Konoha are completely lonely. At such a young age, he is cruel and ruthless, and he is cold-blooded and ruthless against his own people. The 3rd generation of Reikage had an endless chill in his heart. Hyuga-chen's indifference made him feel chills in his heart. Even so, how ruthless should he be to his enemies? You're wrong, I didn't take them as my own. Hyuga-chen said flatly. It's your turn now, but you can rest assured that there is still value in reading, and I will leave you a small life. Hyuga-chen appeared in front of the 3rd generation of Reikage in an instant, posing in the gentle fist method. 3rd generation of Reikage's pupils shrank. He was seriously injured by gentle fist last time. Naturally, he did not dare to underestimate him, and quickly stepped back. Although the 3rd generation Reikage is indeed fast, it still can't compare with the speed of Hyuga-chen's shot. Gentle fist law 8 trigrams 128 palms. The 8 trigrams array enveloped the 3 generation Reikage, and then between the breaths, the 3 generation Reikage fell to the ground, spitting blood, unable to move. Reikage, who is the enemy of the tailed beast, knelt down in an instant. You should be glad that you are valuable, otherwise you will be a corpse now. Hyuga-chen looked down at the 3rd Reikage, who was half kneeling on the ground, supporting his body. Have the ability to kill me. 3 generations of Reikage roared. Kill you. Are you still worthwhile if you die? If you feed your corpse to a dog, the dog will think your flesh is too hard. Hyuga-chen smiled evilly. Looking at the evil smile at the corner of Hyuga-chen's mouth, the 3rd generation of Reikage's body was cold. He thought that he would die, but he never thought that he would be captured when he saw him. What do you want? Captives don't have the qualifications to ask questions, take them to me and take care of them. Hyuga-chen left after finishing speaking. After Hyuga-chen left, everyone in the field looked at the mutilated corpses everywhere, and a flash of sadness flashed in their eyes. I didn't expect your Hyuga's gentle fist to be so powerful. Yeah, 3 generations of Reikage can be easily subdued. Ha ha, the Hyuga patriarch laughed bitterly. Is the gentle fist of their Hyuga family powerful? Clearly Hyuga-chen is powerful. If he was asked to fight, even if the 3rd generation of Reikage stood still, he would not be able to block the opponent's acupuncture points. Suddenly, the Hyuga patriarch thought of a question, that is, Hyuga-chen obviously does not have Byakugan, but how to perform acupuncture. Head Hyuga didn't notice it before, but now I remember. After thinking about it for a long time, he found nothing, so he could only hold this question in his heart. As for asking Hyuga-chen, he said that he still wanted to live longer, and he didn't want to ask the tyrannical Great Devil. Chapter 108 Exchange. Now Hyuga-chen is in the Konoha station, but everyone is scary. Although he looks handsome, he looks a little cute because of the childishness on his face. But in the eyes of Konoha ninjas, this is a demon in human skin, who does things without any scruples. Front of thousands of ninjas from the major families of Konoha, he destroyed the ninjas of the Sarutobi and Shimura families without any intention of concealing them. If you are teammates with this kind of person, you have to be careful of getting killed, it will make people panic. Although Hyuga-chen saved Konoha's crisis, he did not receive any reverence, only endless fear. Today's Hyuga-chen's reputation is even worse than that of the cold-blooded and ruthless Orochimaru, who had already embarked on the road of technology during the Third World War. If it weren't for Hyuga-chen's strength, everyone would be shouting and beating. Hyuga-chen also knows that his reputation is not very good, but Hyuga-chen doesn't care, whether it is a good name or a bad name, as long as he is famous, it will be good to be remembered. Whether Hyuga-chen is everlasting or stinks eternal. Because the third generation of Reikage was captured and became a prisoner, now Kumogakure village is full of panic and confusion on his face. Even the future fourth generation Reikage was confused. He really wanted to take someone to bring his father back, but his reason told him that going there would only bring Kumogakure 460 into danger. Although he wants to save his father, he is also responsible for the rest of Kumogakure. Hyuga-chen brought 3 generations of Lord Reikage and was shouting outside, and he also humiliated Lord Reikage in public. A Chunin hurriedly came to Ai and reported to him. Touch! Ai smashed the table with his fist. Too deceitful. Ai's fiery temper couldn't bear it any longer, and he went out to fight with someone. Hyuga-chen, if you were a man, let my father go. After Ai came out, he looked at the scene in front of him, his eyes were full of yuhi. I saw the third generation Reikage tied up in front of the formation, and several ninjas were slapping their faces. Although the third generation Reikage was rough and fleshy and would not be injured at all, it was too humiliating. 3 generations of Reikage, a man of steel will, had the intention of death in his heart. If it wasn't for his body being out of control, he would have committed suicide long ago. What a humiliation to be slapped in the face in front of tens of thousands of ninjas. Reikage is the face of Kumogakure village. Now that he is slapped in the face, he is slapping the face of the entire Kumogakure village. And his 3-generation Reikage is definitely the most humiliating Reikage in history. Even if he dies in the future, he will be stabbed in the spine. I have to say that Hyuga-chen's move is a bit heartbreaking. Hyuga-chen, why are you so mean? I growled. Despicable. That's right, I'm despicable. I'm just doing anything to achieve my goals. What can you do to me? It's not just watching your father get slapped in the face. Hyuga-chen said shamelessly. Ai's Kiba teeth were all crunched. This is not a description, but a real crunch. I and Kumogakure compatriots, don't worry about me. If Hyuga-chen has any request, he will never agree to him. 3 generations of Reikage shouted. Noisy. Be your prisoner with peace of mind. Hyuga-chen used the yin and yang to condense the black chakra stick, and then knocked him unconscious. Now we can talk about trading chips. Hyuga-chen said his true purpose. What deal? I didn't agree to deal with you. I said with a cold face. If you say that, the chips of the 3 generations of Reikage will be worthless. It's better to chop them up and feed the dogs. It happens to be a meal for the ninja dogs of the Inuzuka clan. It can be regarded as a waste. You dare! I roared furiously. But looking at the smile on Hyuga-chen's face, Ai's heart was cold, shocked and angry. To be able to humiliate his father like this, Hyuga-chen is definitely not a decent person. I am afraid this kind of thing can really be done. If you are a dutiful son, redeem your father. If you don't care about your father, then it doesn't matter. What conditions? Ai's face was gloomy. Take Hachio and Erwei in exchange. Hyuga-chen said his main purpose. It's impossible. I roared angrily. They themselves didn't think the tailed beasts were enough. How can you hand over your own tailed beast? You also said I was despicable. You don't even look at yourself. It's ruthless and ruthless. You don't even want your father. Do you want him to die early, and then take the throne yourself? Hyuga-chen mocked. Because of Hyuga-chen's words, the ninjas of Kumogakure village looked at Ai in a wrong way. Ai's face was as black as ink, and he hated Hyuga-chen even more in his heart. Not only did he take his father to blackmail them, but he also set him on the fire and roasted him. This man was utterly bad. I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. In 10 days, if I don't see Yahweh and Erwei in 10 days, you will never see your beloved third-generation Reikage. Hyuga-chen said coldly, and then leave with the people of Konoha. Kumogakure's face was ugly and he was clenching his fists. He wanted to rush up to save the third-generation Reikage, but he didn't dare to go forward. Seeing Konoha's people disappearing completely, I said with an ugly face, I ordered my cousin Bulubi to come and bring the 2 tails that were sealed in the amber bottle by the way. Are you really going to hand over the 8 tails and the 2 tails? What else? Do you want to see my father killed by Hyuga-chen, and then humiliated by his body? I said furiously. He couldn't control his emotions now. Time passed quickly. 9 days passed in a blink of an eye, and Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column Libu Rupee, as well as the amber bottle that sealed Erwei, all arrived. And I also told Bulubi about the current situation. Bulubi didn't think much, and agreed to exchange back to the third generation of Reikage. This made I feel relieved, but at the same time felt guilt towards Bulubi. Oh, it's pretty fast. There's still a day left. Hyuga-chen, who was teaching Conan, suddenly received a message. The letter said that they agreed to exchange the third-generation Reikage, which was not unexpected by Hyuga-chen. The third-generation Reikage was the Jinchuriki column of Kumogakure, and it was much more useful than the 2 tails and 8 tails that could not be used normally. And the third generation of Reikage is also the face of Kumogakure village. Kumogakure will exchange for the third generation of Reikage. To Conan, and Hyuga-chen separated out a shadow clone to protect Conan. Shadow clone has the strength of cage level peak, and it is easy to protect Conan. After that, Hyuga-chen didn't call Konoha's ninja, and went to trade with 3 generations of Reikage and Kumogakure alone. How is it that Kumogakure didn't give up your Reikage? Are you glad? Hyuga-chen asked the third Reikage. Humph. The third generation Reikage, who was dragged by Hyuga-chen, snorted coldly. After arriving at the trading location, I had already brought the entire army of Kumogakure and was ready to fight. Bring so many people here. Do you not believe in my character? Tilde, you deserve our trust. I asked sarcastically. Hyuga-chen shrugged, not angry. Chapter 109 2 Tails 8 Tails. The third Reikage is here, so what about your tailed beast? Hyuga-chen threw the third Reikage in front of him. Seeing this scene, Ai's heart boiled with anger. Nizi, who asked you to agree to his conditions, what did you agree to? 3 generations of Reikage roared. Because when Hyuga-chen and I-tan exchanged chips before, the third generation of Reikage was knocked unconscious by Hyuga-chen with a black stick, and he didn't know the specific content. Ai Wenyan lowered his head and said, on the condition that we use the 8 tails and the 2 tails, we can exchange for my father. What? If it wasn't for the third generation of Reikage being dissipated by Hyuga-chen, he couldn't exert any strength at all, and he would have to jump up now. 8 tails and 2 tails are the lifeblood of their Kumogakure village, so they exchanged it like this. Although the object of the exchange was their own life, the third generation Reikage absolutely disagreed. Get me out with Bulubi. I need you to save me, you old man. I tell you, Even if I die, I won't agree to this exchange. Hyuga Chen frowned, then kicked him stunned. This old guy is so annoying, he's obviously just a traitor, and he's calling out a few times. Hyuga-chan, what are you doing? Ai's heart was full of anger. Looking at Hyuga Chen's behavior, he simply doesn't think of his father as a human being. Hyuga Chen also did not regard the third-generation Reikage as a human being. In his eyes, the third-generation Reikage was just a commodity for trading. It's not even a cargo, it can only be regarded as a bait to send Yahweh and Erwei to the door. In this situation, trading or not trading is meaningless to Hyuga Chen. Anyway, Yao and Erao are already present, so it's a big deal to grab it directly. In other words, the current three-generation Reikage is useless. If it weren't for Hyuga Chen being a bit moral, I would have cut off the 3 generations of Reikage now. You don't need to play with that broken jar. I know its capabilities. Throw it over here. Hyuga Chen looked at the amber bottle next to Ai and said lightly. In fact, Hyuga Chen is also unable to complain. He really can't see that this is a bottle. You can call it a jar or a bucket, but it is called the amber clean bottle for Mao. How does it look like a bottle? You let my father go first. Ai frowned slightly. He wanted to seal Hyuga Chen with the amber bottle, but now it seems impossible. Hyuga Chen pulled out Ryujin Jaka and put it on the neck of the third Reikage. Do you want to try whether his neck is hard or my knife is sharp? Hyuga Chen said with a sneer. Ai's face was ugly. After hesitating for a while, he threw the amber bottle over. A smile appeared at the corner of Hyuga Chen's mouth. Armament hockey wrapped around Ryujin Jaka, and then swung down with all his strength. The ninja tool left by the 6 Paths Immortal has been turned into 2 halves, completely scrapped. A 2-tailed giant cat came out of it and roared in the sky, venting the depression in his heart and the excitement of being liberated. You actually destroyed the amber bottle. I was very angry when she saw the treasures in the village were destroyed and Erwei was released. Everyone retreat for me. I yelled at the ninja behind him. The tail beast is almost a disaster for ordinary ninjas. You stinky cat, calm me down. Tensagan's ability to manipulate puppets instantly took down Erwei. Although Tensagan can't restrain the tailed beast like Rinnegan and Sharingan, it is easy to control a weaker two-tailed. Now Erwei is in front of Hyuga Chen, just like a well-behaved kitten, making Kumogakur's eyes pop out in the distance. Can't believe what they saw in front of them. Is this still the Erwei that makes them terrified and the troubled villages turned upside down? Controlling tailed beasts. When will the Hyuga clan also be able to control tailed beasts? Isn't it said that only Uchiha's Sharingan can control tailed beasts? I whispered doubtfully. But no one explained to him. Hyuga Chen is currently busy drawing Erwei's chakra. Because he is already very skilled, Hyuga Chen draws the tailed beast chakra very quickly. After drawing enough chakra, Hyuga Chen unlocks Tensagan's control. Erwei gave a jolt, then dragged his body, which was half shorter than before, and thinned a circle, and flexibly ran into the distance. Now it just wants to quickly avoid Hyuga Chen. It was controlled by Hyuga Chen before, and it doesn't want to enjoy it again. Seeing Erwei swiftly rushing into the distance, Hyuga Chen didn't stop her either. Anyway, Erwei is useless now. It can run as soon as it wants. Because Hyuga Chen didn't stop her, and Erwei's speed was one of the best among tailed beasts, she quickly disappeared into the distance. I looked at Erwei, who escaped with an extremely ugly face. You let Erwei go by yourself. It has nothing to do with us. We will not help you to bring it back. I said with a gloomy face. Hyuga Chen didn't speak, raised his hand to aim at Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column Liburubi, and said softly, "Come here." Bansho Tenon, universal pull. The powerful gravitational force erupted, and Bu Rupi was sucked in instantly, and I, who was standing beside him, couldn't react in time. Hyuga Chen, you want to be honest. I roared and ran towards Hyuga Chen. You better go back to me. Hyuga Chen kicked the third Reikage lying on the ground, and the third Reikage hit I like a cannonball, sending I flying back. I'm not a good person. but I can still talk about basic credit. Let's get out with the 3 generations of rakeage. Hyuga Chen stepped on Barubi under his feet and said with a light smile. Yao, you can feel it. The other party is absorbing your chakra, don't you want to resist at all? Bulubi talked to Yao in his heart. Eight-Tails was silent for a while, feeling the chakra disappearing like running water, and he was really unwilling. The opponent can capture 3 generations of rakeage. Even if I lent you my power, I am not an opponent. Yao, are you afraid? Barubi said sarcastically. How could I be afraid? The 8-tailed bull demon was very upset. Even if QB 9 tails came, it wouldn't be afraid. I'll lend you my power. Yao lent the chakra to Barubi. The 8-tailed chakra coat immediately appeared on Barubi's body, wrapping him, and Barubi felt that his power had increased greatly, as if he could blow up a mountain. Do you still want to resist? Hyuga-chan smiled. Drink. I won't accept my fate. I will defeat you and avenge the 3 generations of rakeage. Barubi burst out of chakra and broke free from under Hyugatatsu's feet. At this time, 6 tails appeared behind Bu Ryubi, and the whole body was covered by the black Yuhi-colored tailed beast clothing, which had already entered the half-tailed beast transformation. Let Yao come out. This way, you can still fight against me. You are far from qualified now. Hyuga Chen floated in the air and said. Chapter 110 Tenseigan Chakra Pattern. You don't need 8 tails, I can beat you right now. Barubi roared, and the huge octopus tail was drawn towards Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen frowned, but he didn't expect this guy to be quite ignorant, so he avoided the octopus tail at will, and then used the speed of light to kick. The strong defensive tailed beast's coat was smashed with a bang, and the half-tailed beast's Barubi was kicked away, and was almost killed by Hyuga Chen's kick. Fortunately, the 8 tails in his body protected him, otherwise, Hyuga Chen could kick his body through with 1 kick. Barubi, you are not his opponent, leave it to me, said the 8 tails in Barubi's body. Yao didn't want Barubi to die, otherwise it would have to be buried with Barubi. Barubi hesitated for a moment, nodded, and then handed over control of his body to Yao, entering the form of a full-tailed beast. Yao is out, maybe we have a chance. I carried the 3-generation rakeage on his back and stood with Kumogakure to watch from a distance. 8-tailed, the tailed beast next to QB 9 tails should also give you some respect, so let you see my strongest state. Hyuga Chen chuckled, then shouted softly, Tenseigan Chakra Mode. The dark blue chakra enveloped Hyuga Chen, making it impossible to see his face at all, and there were 12 golden light balls floating around him. Hyuga Chen's Tenseigan chakra pattern is not the same as Otsutsuki Shirin's. As for who is stronger, there is no real comparison, and Hyuga Chen does not know. However, Hyuga Chen can feel that in his current strong pervert, Tenseigan chakra mode, Hyuga Chen is already 6 paths. The powerful chakra pressed the air, and the surrounding rocks cracked and cracked open. 6 paths level, how is that possible? Yahweh is obviously stunned, this fuck is a fart. Although each tailed beast is very proud, it is not a fool, even if they are 9 tailed beasts together, it is not enough for 6 paths. Stepping into 6 paths, it is already a qualitative leap, and it can even be called the realm of God. Yahweh, are you ready? Hyuga Chen's mouth showed a sinister smile, but unfortunately it was shrouded in chakra, and no one could see it at all. Entering the Tenseigan chakra mode, Hyuga Chen can feel that his ability to extract chakra from a distance is stronger, and his pupil power has also increased a lot. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, demonic illusion and chakra are improved dozens of times in an all-round way, which is even more exaggerated than Sage mode. Even Hyuga Chen doesn't know that Tenseigan chakra mode has this effect. Hyuga Chen turned into a streamer and disappeared, and his movement speed was comparable to that of glitter fruit. He instantly appeared beside Yahweh, and then punched Yahweh. With a loud boom, Yao was punched to the sea by Hyuga Chen from the border between the land of fields and the land of fire. This punch made Yao fly out of a country, and Yao's current condition is very bad, and has been seriously injured to the point of collapse. The chakras on Yahweh's body began to overflow, and he looked like he was about to die, and half of his body had been beaten. Hyuga Chen also smacked his lips. He was also using the Tensagen chakra mode for the first time. He didn't expect it to be so strong. He didn't even release his ultimate move. Just an ordinary punch and 8 tails are going to kneel now. Released a green sphere and collected the 8-tailed chakra in the air, and then Hyuga Chen disappeared in an instant, crossed a country, and appeared beside the dying 8-tailed. Hyuga Chen's punch just now is no longer weaker than Baman Gai, and now Baowei is just struggling a little bit, and it can be said that he is dead. Hyuga Chen naturally wanted to take advantage of Yao's breath now, and quickly draw Yao's chakra. After Hyuga Chen finished drawing the 8-tailed chakra, the 8 tails at this time were about to dissipate, not to return to the body of the human Jinchuriki column force, but to die. You are also a decent person, Yahweh. No, you are a decent beast, so I'll give you a decent way to die. The golden wheel is reborn. The golden Gudodama truth-seeking ball flew into Hyuga Chen's hands, and a golden chakra lightsaber that penetrated the sky appeared. The lightsaber had pierced through the atmosphere and rushed out of the earth. Hyuga Chen held the lightsaber that had pierced the sky and waved it at the 8 tails. I don't know if it was a coincidence. The golden wheel reincarnated and brushed past the moon, cutting off a small piece of the moon. Otsutsuki clan on the moon were already frightened. Boom! Under the attack of the golden wheel reincarnation explosion, the 8 tails have dissipated in the heaven and the earth, and the 8-tailed chakra in the heaven and the earth is slowly condensing. None of these are important. The most important thing is the follow-up effect of the golden wheel reincarnation explosion, although the direction of Hyuga Chen's release is the sea. But the sea was also cut open. Hyuga Chen could see the bottom of the sea, and even the golden wheel reincarnated at the bottom of the sea and cut several kilometers deep, and Hyuga Chen couldn't see how far the big trench was. The sea has already begun to boil, and the boundless tsunami has been set off. As long as the countries close to this sea area, such as the land of earth, the land of thunder, and the land of frost, are unlucky, they are baptized by the tsunami. The land of frost is even more unlucky. Because it is blocked on the route of the golden wheel, the whole country is divided into 2 parts, and one part is reduced to an island. Alas, I don't know how many souls are going to die this time, it's a sin. Hyuga Chen looked at the tsunami that had already ascended into the sky. Hyuga Chen roughly estimated that the tsunami must be at least a few hundred meters high. If this was shot all at once, it would be trivial to smash the island. Let's stop it. Hyuga Chen frowned. Silver rotation explosion. The golden Gudodama truth-seeking ball spun frantically, and the huge gravitational storm attracted the seawater, and then, under the control of Hyuga Chen, formed a huge water drill and flew towards the sky. Then it exploded in the sky and turned into a downpour. This should be regarded as artificial rain. This time, I have sent a second kind of intention. Hyuga Chen murmured. In fact, he could have ignored the tsunami, and it wouldn't affect him anyway. However, Hyuga Chen found his conscience in 4.5 days and took action to solve the tsunami that could cause countless deaths. Actually, if Hyuga Tatsu met Chibaku Tensai, heavenly body bursting from the earth, it would be easier to solve, but Hyuga Tatsu would not. Originally Hyuga Chen thought that he knew the principle of Chibaku Tensai, heavenly body bursting from the earth, and that he could manipulate gravity, so he could use Chibaku Tensai, heavenly body bursting from the earth. But reality gave Hyuga Chen a slap in the face. No matter how he researched, he just couldn't use Chibaku Tensai, heavenly body bursting from the earth. Later, Hyuga Chen was relieved. Chibaku Tensai, heavenly body bursting from the earth, is Rinnegan's core ability, just like Tensagen's golden reincarnation bursting and silver reincarnation bursting, it is an exclusive ability. Based on Akatsuki's principles, but Hyuga Chen is not lost. He still has the system plugin. If you really want it, it's a big deal. After the system upgrade is completed, go to the system store to exchange it. Chapter 111 Hitaki Sakumo came to ask the guilt. After finishing this tsunami, Hyuga-chen turned back and came to the place where he traded with Kumogakure. Kumogakure had disappeared. In fact, Kumogakure had already retreated after Hyuga-chen smashed the 8 tails with one punch. Hyuga-chen, who turned on the Tenseigan chakra mode, was outrageous. I and the Kumogakure troops were far away. They were still caught by Hyuga-chen's fist wind, and hundreds of Kumogakure were killed by the fist wind. I was scared to pee when she saw this scene, and while Hyuga-chen left, she quickly carried the 3-generation Reikage on her back, and greeted the Kumogakure troops and fled. Not seeing Kumogakure, Hyuga-chen didn't care, released Tenseigan chakra mode, and went back to Konoha Station. Hyuga-chen returned to the Konoha Station. He found that the atmosphere was a little wrong, but Hyuga-chen didn't care and went back to his residence directly. Brother Chen, you're back. Someone was looking for you before. Conan ran over and threw himself into Hyuga-chen's arms. Someone looking for me. Hyuga-chen was a little puzzled, then looked at Shadow Clone next to him. Shadow Clone nodded, and disappeared into smoke. And Hyuga-chen received Shadow Clone's memory and knew who came to find him. It was Konoha White Fang Hatake Sakumo. I didn't expect him to come here too. Could it be because of the Sarutobi family and the Shimura family? Hyuga-chen muttered softly. This is the only reason Hyuga-chen can think of. Because of the teleportation in space, Hyuga-chen shuttles between the 2 battlefields at will, knowing that the situation in the Land of Rain is not very good. The situation in the Land of Rain battlefield can only be said to be relatively stable, and it is inseparable from the high-end combat power of Hatake Sakumo, but now that Hatake Sakumo is here, there is naturally a reason. Although he knew that Hatake Sakumo was looking for him, Hyuga-chen didn't take the initiative to see him, and it was estimated that Hatake Sakumo would find him in a while. Since he knew that Hatake Sakumo would come over, there was no need to see him. Sure enough, within 5 or 6 minutes, Hatake Sakumo came. Isn't Hatake-senpai on the battlefield of the Land of Rain? Why are you here now in the Land of Thunder? Hyuga-chen asked knowingly. Hatake Sakumo's face was extremely serious, his sharp eyes looked at Hyuga-chen, and he asked word by word, I want to know how the ninjas of the Sarutobi clan and the ninjas of the Shimura clan died. Ha. Senior Hatake's question is a bit irritating. How can you die on the battlefield? Of course you died in battle. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. You can still laugh when your compatriot is dead. Hatake Sakumo said in a low voice. Alas. In fact, I was very sad a few days ago, and even cried several times because of it, but these days I also understand that people cannot be resurrected from the dead, so we must face all this with optimism and cheerfulness. Their deaths were not in vain, but very valuable. Without their sacrifices, now Kumogakure has hit Konoha. They are all heroes of the village, and the village will remember their dedication. Hyuga-chen pretended to be sad, and even wiped away tears that didn't exist at all. Conan, who was sitting beside him, looked at Hyuga-chen, and immediately covered his mouth with his hands, for fear that he would laugh out loud. Hyuga-chen. Hatake Sakumo's face turned cold, and then said, I heard that they died, all because of you. What? Hyuga-chen patted the table and stood up in shock. Who did Hatake-senpai listen to? Hyuga-chen's expression was extremely angry. Then he said with righteous indignation, this must be the news spread by Kumogakure. Knowing that he can't beat us, he spread false news and wanted to cause us civil unrest. This is a really cruel method. I didn't expect those brash men with muscled heads in Kumogakure to have such a scheme. It's despicable and shameless. Hatake Sakumo's face became colder and colder, and the tea in front of him was frozen. Killing the ninjas of your own village is an unforgivable crime. I hope you can confess your guilt so that the punishment can be reduced. Senior Hatake, it seems that you believe that I killed the ninjas of these 2 families, so do you have any evidence? Everyone on the battlefield is a witness. Hyuga-chen's face turned cold. You asked them to confront me. Hyuga-chen, don't make one mistake again and again. Go to Hokage-sama to apologize. Hokage-sama will take credit for your credit, and maybe he will take it lightly. Frankly and leniently, you will be put in jail. If you resist being strict, you should go home for the new year. You probably haven't heard of it. Hyuga-chen said lightly. So you're admitting it's you. Okay Hataki-senpai, if you have nothing to do, just leave. We still have to eat. Hyuga-chen interrupted Hataki Sakumo's words, and then ordered the expulsion. Hataki Sakumo's words were smothered in his heart, and it was extremely uncomfortable. I'll leave first, I hope you can think about it. Hataki Sakumo stood up angrily and left. When he reached the door, Hataki Sakumo turned his head, looked at Hyuga-chen and said, now your battlefield commander position is replaced by me. One more thing, what about the third generation Raikage? Run, Hyuga-chen said lightly. A deep look at Hyuga-chen, Hataki Sakumo turned and left. When he came, the 3 generations of Hokage told him not to have too much conflict with Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen shrugged and didn't care. What commander's position, he wasn't interested at all. Brother Chen, will you be okay? Conan asked with a little worry. It's okay, strength is everything, let's go. Let's go see if Makoto is ready. Hyuga-chen picked up Conan, and a space teleport disappeared into the room. It smells so good. Makoto, what are you doing? Hyuga 630-chen smelled a fragrance just after arriving here. If you and Conan come a little later, we'll start eating, we won't wait for you. Kushina said dissatisfied. The food had been ready for a while, and Kushina's saliva was drooling when she smelled the fragrance. She wanted to secretly pinch and taste it, but Makoto watched and didn't let her eat secretly, not to mention how depressed she was. Hataki Sakumo was sent to the battle with Kumogakure, didn't he trouble you? Tsunade asked softly. Looking for me, but it's no big deal, leave Konoha at the most, it seems to be a good missing nin. Hyuga-chen said nonchalantly, then peeled off a large shrimp and put it in the Conan bowl. Thank you Brother Chen. Conan narrowed his eyes happily. When you attacked the Sarutobi family and the Shimura family, why didn't you do it secretly? Why did you kill them in front of everyone? Tsunade said with a slight reproach. Cut. How embarrassing it is to sneak in. Hyuga-chen said with a pouted lip. Eat first. Let's talk after eating, or the food will be cold for a while. Makoto said softly. That's right. Is there anything I can't talk about for a while? It has to be said at the dinner table. Kushina said. After the meal, Makoto went to clean the dishes. Conan also went to the kitchen to help. Kushina was lying on the tatami with his stomach covered, and he was exhausted. Hyuga-chen lay comfortably beside Kushina. Chapter 112 Battlefield Bastard, Hyuga-chen. You two are really lazy. Tsunade said, looking at Hyugatatsu and Kushina. Sister Tsunade, you have no right to speak of us. Kushina squinted at Tsunade who was lying on the table. What are you going to do? Sandai and Danzo won't let it go. Tsunade asked Hyuga-chen. It's alright, anyway, they won't bother me now, let's wait until the war is over. Hyuga-chen said indifferently. Now that Konoha is fighting for, he will definitely not give up his superpower, but after the war, it may not be so. But it's still too early to end the war. If Hyuga-chen didn't take action, the war would last at least 4 or 5 years. Do whatever you want, Tsunade said lazily, lying on the table. Makoto came out of the kitchen, looked at this scene, and shook his head helplessly. Chatting with Makoto and the others for a while, Hyuga-chen left. Instead of returning to the battlefield in Kumogakure village, he went to the logistics department. Naoki, Hyuga-chen called out to Naoki who was busy. Chen, why are you here? Didn't you go to the Kumogakure battlefield? Naoki was very surprised when he saw Hyuga-chen. You Senju clan, these are the only ones left. Hyuga-chen pointed to the 3 or 2 people next to him. Naoki's originally excited expression immediately lowered. We were attacked by Sunagakure before, so they. Hyuga-chen shook his head, then called Naoki out to speak. Naoki was puzzled, but he followed Hyuga-tatsu out. Chen, you are very powerful now. You can hear your name on the entire battlefield, and even the ninjas around you want you to be a Hokage. I'm so envious, Naoki said enviously. Don't be envious, I came to you on business. Hyuga-chen shook his head, then reached out and patted Naoki's head. A mark appeared on Naoki's forehead, and then disappeared invisible. What are you doing, Chen? It hurts to death. Naoki put his hands on his forehead. I'll give you something to save your life. Don't be content. What life-saving thing? Naoki stared at Hyuga-chen with wide eyes. Hyuga-chen and Naoki looked at each other. Tensegen's light flashed for a while, then returned to normal, and then said with a smile, "You'll find out later. Now you can go to the waves as much as you like, and you can't die." In Naoki's eyes, Hyuga-chen used a transcribed seal to implant the pupil technique, Gao Tianyuan, and also placed a trigger-type space mark on him. After being triggered, Naoki can be teleported to a specific space. Okay, go back. I'll go first. Hyuga-chen waved to Naoki, then turned to leave. Naoki looked at Hyuga-chen inexplicably, not knowing what the hell he was doing, so he just left. Didn't he have something to tell him? Giving Naoki a life-saving card, Hyuga-chen took Konan and Makoto and their 3 daughters to say goodbye, and teleported back to the Kumogakure battlefield of Tien-no country. In the time that followed, Hyuga-chen didn't even go to the battlefield, and stayed in his residence, either teaching Konan to practice or practicing sage mode by himself, becoming the most leisurely one on the battlefield. Father, Hyuga-chen hasn't been on the battlefield for a long time, and now the commander of the battlefield is also Konoha White Fang Hataki Sakumo. Is there something wrong with Konoha? It should be, I saw it with my own eyes. Hyuga-chen slaughtered Sarutobi and Shimura clan ninjas in front of everyone. 3 generations of Reikage nodded. If Konoha is at war, we have a chance. 3 generations of Reikage's eyes twinkled. Now what Kumogakure is most afraid of is Hyuga-chen. When Hyuga-chen used the Tenseigen chakra mode, he had already scared them to the core. If Hyuga-chen really made a move, they might have to surrender. The opponent was already too strong, and they couldn't see any hope of victory at all. We can't be careless. Let's test it with Konoha first to see if Hyuga-chen really doesn't make a move. The 3rd generation of Reikage still felt that it was better to be careful. After that, 3 generations of Reikage brought an elite team to continuously launch sneak attacks on Konoha, causing Konoha's ninjas to suffer heavy casualties. Although White Fang has played against the 3-generation Reikage several times, they are not opponents at all. Whether it is speed, strength or defense, the 3-generation Reikage is better than White Fang. What to do if he can't fight? White Fang can only go to Hyuga-chen, but Hyuga-chen has no time now. His sage mode has been cultivated to the most critical time. White Fang touched the ash on the nose and had to lead Konoha's troops to shrink. The battlefields of the 2 sides are now in a stalemate, and no one has an absolute advantage. Now it's a war of attrition to see who can hold on first. In a blink of an eye, a year has passed, and the war has lasted for more than a year. At this time, the battlefield has entered a white-hot state, and even the newly graduated genin has been sent to the battlefield. In this year's time, Hyuga-chen finally successfully learned Sage Mode. Although it is still impossible to enter Sage Mode instantly, it takes more than 10 seconds to accumulate power, but Hyuga-chen is very satisfied. After Hyuga-chen entered Sage Mode, there was no immortal mask on his face, but a blue lightning mark appeared on his forehead, and a golden light coat appeared on his body. Hyuga-chen feels pretty good, at least it looks better than that messy face. After using Sage Mode, I feel a little more handsome. Sometimes Hyuga-chen is sighing, how handsome he is, how can other men lie? After being narcissistic for a while, Hyuga-chen went to the battlefield as a scoundrel, and now Hyuga-chen is the #1 scoundrel on the battlefield. After entering the battlefield, Hyuga-chen found a place to sit, and the other party didn't dare to come to trouble him at all, and even deliberately avoided where Hyuga-chen was. I don't understand why the other party is so afraid of you. Yamanaka Inoichi said speechlessly. That's because they have wisdom in their eyes. As long as I stand here, even if I don't make a move, I will shine brightly. They can see my extraordinariness at a glance. It seems that the enemy is extraordinary. Hyuga Chen shook his head narcissistically. Hyuga-chan took his old classmates to sit in the middle of the battlefield, and within a kilometer radius, no one Kumogakure dared to approach. Isn't it bad for us to sit here like this? Akamichi Choza said, scratching his head. What's wrong? Don't you want to die? Look around, there are ninjas who are so much stronger than you, they won't die in minutes. Hyuga-chen pouted, and then taught Conan to learn ninjutsu. Conan's talent is very good, and he can use ninjutsu now. Unfortunately, Conan's chakra is not much, and he can only release a few C-level ninjutsu at most. Because Conan does not have a special Kekkei Genkei, there are not many chakras, just the amount of chakras of ordinary ninjas. For ordinary ninjas, chakras should be used sparingly. Can't be compared with someone like Hyuga Chen who has a sage body. Chakra is like an ocean, and you can easily enlarge your moves. Chapter 113 Hyuga Chen shot. Although Hyuga-chan didn't make a shot, the deterrent was still very strong. Now Konoha was beaten by Kumogakure, but Kumogakure didn't dare to push too hard. Kumogakure did not dare to attack Konoha's camp directly, even if he had won a frontal battle. Battle lasted for half an hour, and Konoha couldn't hold on any longer and began to retreat. Seeing that he was about to retreat, Hyuga Chen stood up and patted his butt, then said, "Retreat, let's go back." Pulling Conan and leaving under Kumogakure's watch, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi and Akamichi Choza hurriedly followed. Kumogakure's wolf-like eyes made them panic. "Chen, why are they so afraid of you?" Nara Shikaku asked curiously, looking at Kumogakure, who was flaming in his eyes but didn't dare to take a step forward. "Because I'm strong," Hyuga Chen chuckled. Shortly after returning to the residence, White Fang brought the Hyuga patriarch to find him. Now the situation in Konoha is very bad. Ino Shikacho, who has never grown up, has gone to battle, knowing how bad things are in Konoha. Senior Hatake, Chief Hyuga, I don't know what 027 is doing here. Now you have seen the situation in Konoha. Konoha is very critical now, I hope you can take action. White Fang didn't talk nonsense, and went straight to the topic. The current situation can't tolerate his nonsense anymore, and the three big countries, a small country second only to the big country, can't fight for consumption, even the rich country of fire can't fight. It can be said that Konoha is dying slowly now, and when the national strength is completely exhausted, Konoha will be finished. And the big name of the country of fire also added blockages at this time, making their resources shrink a lot, and Konoha is getting more and more difficult. Yeah, I hope you can help Konoha, and it can be regarded as helping the Hyuga family. The Hyuga patriarch also asked. Hyuga Chen was silent for a while, then said, "For the sake of the Hyuga family, I will take action." If Hatake Tsukumo came by himself, Hyuga Tatsu would let him go without saying a word, but Hyuga clan also came, Hyuga Tatsu couldn't do that. Although Hyuga Chen did not live well in the Hyuga family, and was ridiculed, the Hyuga family did not lose a single bit of their own resources, and it also allowed Hyuga Chen to spend the weakest childhood smoothly. Period. The most basic thanks to Hyuga Chen is still there. Since the Hyuga patriarch is also here, Hyuga Chen will naturally give him a face. But this kind of face is only once. Patriarch Hyuga breathed a sigh of relief. He understood the ridicule Hyuga Chen received in the Hyuga family. He thought it would be good for Hyuga Chen not to hate the Hyuga family, but he did not expect Hyuga Chen to give him a face. This made Patriarch Hyuga very honored. After chatting for a while, White Fang and Patriarch Hyuga left with a smile on their faces. Hyuga Chen promised them to take action, which also made the commander White Fang relieved. The situation on the Kumogakure battlefield was indeed not good. Main reason is that his White Fang is not the opponent of the third-generation Raikage. The third-generation Raikage is like his nemesis, and his Hatake swordsmanship cannot cut the third-generation Raikage at all. Moreover, in terms of speed, he was crushed by the third-generation Raikage. White Fang has not been killed by the third-generation Raikage now, and his strength is already strong. Generation Raikage has high defense, strong attack, and fast speed. Except for Akatsuki's demonic illusion resistance, it has almost no shortcomings. It is indeed very powerful. Unfortunately, it is a tragedy to encounter the pervert of Hyuga-chen. On the second day, Hyuga-chen stood directly in front of the Konoha unit, which made Raikage the third generation on the opposite side stunned. 3 generations of Raikage have been arrogant for so long, have they forgotten the fear of being dominated by me? Now let you have a good memory. Rock escape, rock giant. Hyuga-chen slapped the ground with hand seal with both hands. The ground began to tremble, a huge rock arm stretched out from the ground, and then the head, body, and feet all drilled out of the ground and stood in the center of the battlefield. The rock giant is 100 meters tall, comparable to Susanoo, and can absorb the energy of the earth to repair itself. As long as it stands on the ground with both feet, it will never be defeated. Yandun is when Hyuga-chen was bored, and the Kekkei Genkei, which was messed up, is a combination of Doden, Earth style, and Yangdun, and its power is much greater than Doden, Earth style. Although this rock giant looks similar in ability to Tensagen's big stone statue, it is actually a little bit different. The large stone statue summoned by Tensagen can continue to recover as long as the caster is undefeated, while the rock giant cannot recover as long as it leaves the ground and is shattered. However, the rock giant is still very strong. If you want to defeat the rock giant, you must knock the rock giant into the air, and then break it into pieces before the rock giant falls to the ground. This rock giant is actually more pervert than Susanoo to a certain extent, and Susanoo needs to be repaired by chakra to be destroyed. However, unless the rock giant is completely solved, any damage can be repaired by itself, and the consumption can consume you to death. Except for the release of a large amount of chakra, the rock giant is self-sufficient and can be called a perpetual motion machine. Looking at the tall rock giant, Kumogaku's face changed wildly. This kind of thing that can cause an earthquake even if you walk, if it breaks into the crowd, you can step on a large area. Roar! The rock giant roared, then stepped on the ground, and a deep crack spread toward Kumogaku. Get out of the way! Shouted the third Raikage. Although the third generation of Raikage has been reminded in time, the cracks spread too fast, and many Kumogaku still fell. They can rescue people, the rift will close suddenly, and the fallen Kumogaku will sleep in the ground forever. Third generation of Raikage looked red with tears. The Konoha camp was full of excitement, and Hyuga-chen's shot made them confident. The rock giant strode toward Kumogaku, making the earth tremble with every step. Hyuga-chen, who was standing behind, frowned. The rock giant's movement speed was a little slow. It seems that the practicality of this rock giant will be greatly reduced. Hyuga-chen shook his head. This kind of speed is basically useless against the strong, because it can't hit anyone at all. It seems that we have to find a way to improve it, and we can't just let it go. This Yandun is also the first Kekkei Genkei developed by Hyuga-chen himself. Hyuga-chen naturally didn't want to let it be so useless. While Hyuga-chen was thinking, the third generation of Raikage had already used the Hell Thrust 4 books to violently smash one of the rock giant's legs. But to the despair of the third generation of Raikage, almost the moment he shattered, the rock giant was restored to its original state. Fortunately, the fast movement of the rock giant gave the third generation Raikage some comfort. Dodge it for me, I'll block it. The third Raikage's fist met the giant fist of the rock giant, and then the third Raikage flew out, and the rock giant also took a few steps back. Chapter 114 The Rock Cage kills 3,000 Kumogaku. Although the rock giant is powerful, because of the speed, he was blocked by the third generation of Raikage alone. Brother Chen, this big guy seems to be a little weak. Conan said with his head tilted. Ahahaha. Hyuga-chen laughed awkwardly, and then said, I have found a way, and soon this big guy will soar into the sky. Under the control of Hyuga-chen, the rock on the rock giant collapsed, as if it was about to collapse. 3 generations of Raikage froze for a moment. Could it be that Hyuga-chen has lifted, this ninjutsu. But the rock giant has not been lifted. After the rock collapsed, the originally strong rock giant has now turned into a stickman form and is thin into a stick. The rock giant at this time was walking like flying, faster than Susanoo. He took a few steps to the front of the third generation of Raikage, and then punched down. Third generation of Raikage sneered, "This speed is indeed faster, but the same attack power and defense power will be reduced." Generation Raikage was wrapped in thunder and lightning, and faced the rock giant's fist without any fear. But what the other three generations of Raikage did not expect was that the rock instantly returned to the rock giant, turned into a robust rock giant again, and punched the defenseless three generations of Raikage to vomit blood. The third generation Raikage fell on the ground, spewing a few mouthfuls of blood, and looked at the rock giant in disbelief. At this time, the rock giant once again turned into a stickman-like speed form. "Sample, I can't cure you yet," Hyuga-chen said with a smile, "the rock giant that can change its form, I will ask you if you are afraid. This way the rock giant will not be so useless and can also be used against the strong." Rock escape rock cage. Numerous rock railings rose from the ground to form a huge spherical cage, enclosing 3,000 Kumogakure in it. 3,000 Kumogakure was completely trapped inside, and then the rock railings changed into sharp stone blades, and the entire cage began to shrink continuously. This is a ninjutsu created by Hyuga-chen imitating Doflamingo's birdcage, but it has changed from a sharp thread to a sharp rock blade. "I'll leave the rest to you," Hyuga-chen said to White Fang. Hyuga-chen had already trapped half of Kumogakure's combat power, and if Konoha still couldn't beat him, then just surrender. Hatake Sakumo nodded, then looked at the rock cage, frowned and said, "Isn't this too cruel? Then why don't I let them out, and then you bring someone to fight?" Hyuga-chen glanced at Hatake Sakumo and said lightly. Hatake Sakumo was speechless. Damn, the third generation of Raikage, who was knocked away by the rock giant again, looked at the rock cage, and the anger in his heart was ignited. He wanted to rush over to rescue the people inside, but was stopped by the rock giant. Because of his impatience, he took a few punches and was severely injured. He could only watch the shrinkage of the rock cage. "Don't be afraid, everyone, attack together and smash this cage," shouted a quasi-shadow in Kumogakure village. Hearing his shouts, the somewhat turbulent Kumogakure trapped in the cage also quieted down and started attacking the shrunken rock blade. But what made them desperate was that they couldn't move at all. These rock blades were much harder than steel, and the kunai and ninja knives in their hands were all cracked. Raiden Thunder style, which restrains Doden Earth style, has no effect on these rock blades, which makes these ninjas trapped inside desperate. Every inch of this rock cage shrinks, they can survive for 1 point less. This feeling of being unable to wait for death broke their hearts, and some even had thoughts of suicide. Death is not scary, what is scary is watching yourself slowly die while you do nothing. How could you just wait to die like this and break it for me? Boom. The indestructible rock blade shattered, but before Kumogakure was excited, it healed quickly, and the contraction speed doubled again. Scoff. The first ninja to be cut up by a rock blade appeared, and then it was like cutting wheat. People kept falling down, and not even the whole body was left. In the blink of an eye, more than 1,000 died, not even a complete body. Leave. No, stop it. 3 generations of Raikage shed 2 lines of tears, surrounded by thunder, like the god of thunder, madly attacking the rock giant who blocked his footsteps. Hyuga-chen, why are you so cruel, why? The third generation Raikage shouted in the sky, his voice could be heard throughout the battlefield, and the sadness in his voice could be heard even more. Hyuga-chen, I beg you to let them go. They still have families, and their families are still waiting for them to go back. I can exchange my life for theirs, I beg you. The 3 generation Raikage, who was sturdy and strong, stopped attacking, knelt on the ground, and looked at Hyuga-chen pleadingly. The rock giant's waving fist stopped, the originally shrunk rock cage also stopped, and the fighting on the battlefield stopped. All eyes, all gathered on the third generation of Raikage. Lord Raikage. Kumogakure looked at the three-generation Raikage kneeling on the ground through Yuhi's eyes. Lord Raikage doesn't need to care about us, it doesn't matter if we die. The people of our Kumogakure village are greedy for life and fear of death. That's right, why go begging that cruel and despicable fellow? Father. I clenched his fists. His father, who never bowed his head, actually knelt down to others now. This is the battlefield. You are the only one who will die. If you are afraid of death, don't start a war. Since you are involved in a war, you must be prepared to die. Begging for mercy will only make me look down. Hyuga-chen chuckled lightly, then his face turned cold, he stretched out his hand to hold it, and the rock cage that had stopped shrunk to a point in an instant. 3,000 Kumogakure survived, and the battlefield was filled with blood. 3 generations of Raikage's pupils shrank sharply, with grief and hatred on his face. Why, they are all ordinary ninjas, and they don't threaten you at all, why do you still brutally kill them? The third generation Raikage asked frantically. 3,000 Kumogakure just turned into a corpse in front of his eyes. How he explained to the villagers, how to explain to their families, how to be worthy of his Raikage position. You know my strength, but you continue to fight against Konoha for the sake of luck and profit in your heart. It's all your fault. If you choose to retreat and surrender, they will not die. God's sins can still be forgiven, self-inflicted sins can't live. Hyuga-chen said lightly. That's not why you kill people who don't resist. Reasons, if you want, I can give you hundreds of them, do you need them? Hyuga-chen said with a sneer. Weakness is the original sin. If they have the strength to resist me, will they still be killed? This is the rule of this world. Hyuga-chen, it sounds so nice. In fact, you are making excuses for killing. You have no humanity at all. You are a bloodthirsty demon. I glared at Hyuga-chen and said. Ha ha ha, don't put yourself on the side of justice, you want to prove that I'm a bad guy, a devil, you can. As long as you defeat me, whatever you say is what you say. Hyuga-chen said with a big laugh. Chapter 115 Underdog will win. It's the first time I've seen Chen like this, it's really scary. Yamanaka Inoichi, who stayed behind, shuddered. Everyone has two sides, even multiple sides, and treats different people differently, Nara Shikaku said softly. Hyuga-chen, do you really have no guilt for killing so many people? Seeing the smile on Hyuga-chen's face, the third-generation Raikage asked angrily. Guilty? Why do you feel guilty? Do you have to feel guilty for crushing a bunch of ants? Hyuga-chen asked rhetorically. Kumogakure was instantly angry, his eyes were bloody. Hyuga-chen actually compared them to ants, and stopped treating them as human beings. Are you angry? In fact, in my eyes, you are the same as the flowers and plants on the roadside and the beasts in the deep jungle. I have never regarded you as human beings. Hyuga-chen said indifferently. Kumogakure's eyes were bloodshot, and his anger and hatred had already rushed into the sky. If he didn't have some reason, he would have rushed to shred Hyuga-chen. Instead of looking at me angrily, think about your current situation. I want to kill you, but it's just a matter of flicking my fingers. Hyuga-chen said aloud. Third generation of Raikage's eyes narrowed, and he looked at Hyuga-chen vigilantly, for fear that Hyuga-chen would attack them again. But the third generation of Raikage thought too much. Hyuga-chen directly lifted the rock giant, and then took Conan's hand and left. Thank you for my mercy. I'll let you go today, or all of you will die. Kumogakure was so angry that he had killed so many of them, yet shamelessly asked them to thank him. White Fang, should we still? Uchiha gestured to Hitaki Sakumo. Now is the best chance. Next time, I may not be able to ask him to shoot. This time, it is best to completely defeat Kumogakure. Hitaki Sakumo looked cold and killed the third generation Raikage with a knife. Ding, ding, ding. Hitaki Sakumo slashed several times in a row, all of which hit the third generation Raikage, but it seemed like he was slashing on steel, and it didn't work at all. You want to kill me too, do you think you are Hyuga-chen? The angry third-generation Raikage vented all his anger on Hitaki Tsukumo. Third generation of Raikage's eyes was red Yuhi. Even though he was seriously injured by the rock giant, his bravery remained undiminished, and he was even more mad because of his anger. Completely ignoring Hitaki Tsukumo's attack, he lashed out at Hitaki Tsukumo, punching his fist faster than a punch. At the beginning, Hitaki Tsukumo could barely resist with his fighting consciousness. Later, it gradually couldn't keep up. The third-generation Raikage's attack speed was too fast. Even if he could sense the direction of the attack, his body movements couldn't keep up, and he couldn't resist. Generation Raikage seized the opportunity and hit Hitaki Tsukumo a few times, breaking Hitaki Tsukumo's ribs. Fortunately, the third-generation Raikage was not seriously injured, and Hitaki Tsukumo's speed was also his strength, otherwise he might have been beaten to death by the violent third-generation Raikage. Hitaki Tsukumo wiped the blood coughing up from the corner of his mouth, his face pale for a while. When facing other enemies in the past, Hitaki Tsukumo only needed to rely on Lei Shun to approach the opponent, and then use the White Fang's blade to add the penetrating power of Raiden Thunder style to instantly end the enemy's life. But now he is facing an unstoppable third-generation Raikage, and the speed is not as fast as the third-generation Raikage, and passive beating is certain. Third generation of Raikage is a rock giant whose attack power is no worse than that of a complete Susanoo. A man who can still stand upright with a dozen punches in a row. Hitaki Tsukumo's attack is completely unattractive in front of him. Hitaki Tsukumo fell to the disadvantage on this side, and the battle between Konoha and Kumogakure on the other side also fell to the disadvantage. Kumogakure is crazy, they are not afraid of pain, not afraid of death. They just want to bite a piece of meat on Konoha's body. They transfer all their hatred of Hyuga-chen to the other ninjas in Konoha. Kumogakure's crazy appearance made Konoha's ninja fearful, so whereas the opponent's opponent, he was pressed and beaten crazily. I'm going, is there a mistake? Even so, I was beaten. Hyuga-chen was speechless. Unexpectedly, he had already wiped out half of the opponent's fighting power, and Konoha was still being pressed and beaten. This is an ado who cannot help. In this situation, should I take another shot? Hyuga-chen thought while rubbing his chin. If you take action, you will slap yourself in the face, and you have said before that you will be merciful and let them go, pretending to be a force. Now I can't do anything to them anymore, just slap myself in the face. Wouldn't that be a laughing stock? Although Hyuga-chen doesn't care about fame, it shouldn't be so embarrassing. Chen, what are you still doing? Our situation is very bad now. Hurry up and take action. Yamanaka Inoichi shouted loudly. I just said I wanted to let the other party go. Isn't it slapped in the face now? Although I'm thick-skinned, I still have to face it. Hyuga-chen shook his head and said. What time is it? You still care about this? Yamanaka Inoichi looked at Hyuga-chen speechlessly. How can you not care? You can only blame them for not being able to live up to their expectations. It's already like this, and they're still being hanged and beaten. Hyuga-chen said contemptuously. Hey, although you destroyed half of Kumogakure's power, Kumogakure will not be much worse than Konoha even if half of it remains. Yamanaka Inoichi spit out. It's just that the number of people is similar. In terms of strength, Konoha is still stronger. Don't forget that the ninjas here are almost all ninjas from big families, and they all have blood and secret skills. The reason why Konoha is falling behind now is because of lack of momentum. Nara Shikaku said with a wry smile. Konoha should be the strong side now, but Kumogakure, because of the hatred in his heart, relied on the momentum of not afraid of life and death, and Konoha was defeated steadily. Actually, as long as you curb the momentum of Kumogakure and remove the tone in their hearts, they will definitely lose. Nara Shikaku said with a glint in his eyes. It depends on Chen, you don't need to take action, just intimidate them. Nara Shikaku looked at Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen can curb the momentum of Kumogakure, because in the entire battlefield, only Hyuga-chen has the power to deter Kumogakure. Okay. Looking at the expectant eyes of Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, and Akamichi Choza, Hyuga-chen nodded and agreed. They are also considered friends. Although they don't treat the stranger Hyuga-chen very well, they are quite good to friends. As long as it's not an excessive request, Hyuga-chen will generally not refuse. Psychic Beast Five-Tailed King Mew. With a howl, the huge body of the Five Tails appeared on the battlefield. Although the chakra drawn by Hyuga-chen had not recovered, the figure was scary enough. Anyway, after the appearance of the Five Tails, the battle on the battlefield gradually stopped, and everyone looked at the huge-tailed beast behind the Konoha unit. Chapter 116 Kumogakur Surrender. This is the Five Tails. Why did the Five Tails appear here? The third-generation Raikage looked at the roaring Five Tails in confusion. Hataki Sakumo's face was even more anxious, and the Five Tails appeared behind Konoha. If they attacked them, they would suffer heavy casualties. The three of Nara Shikaku were dumbfounded. This is my psychic beast, how is it? It's not bad, right? Hyuga-chen said complacently. Although in the real battle, the Five Tails can't help at all, but the effect of pretending is good, and now the expressions of Nara Shikaku and the others make Hyuga-chen very satisfied. Hyuga-chen picked up Konan and stood on top of Wu-Wei's head. Five Tails, send a tailed beast bomb to the front. Hyuga-chen ordered to Wu-Wei. Of Hyugatatsu's order was very uncomfortable, but he didn't dare to resist Hyugatatsu's order. Of Yin and Yang too. 8. The tailed beast chakra is gathered, and then forms a high-speed rotating energy bomb. After the energy bomb shrinks, it is swallowed by the Five Tails, and then ejected in a straight line. Tailed beast bomb slammed in the direction of Kumogakur, so fast that it caused a sonic boom. Not good. Looking at the direction of the tailed beast bomb's blow, the third-generation Raikage was shocked. 11. This is clearly attacking their Kumogakur. The three generations of Raikage who have seen the power of tailed beast bomb know that if they are hit by tailed beast bomb, their Kumogakur will definitely suffer heavy casualties. Generation Raikage was very decisive and rushed to the front instantly, colliding with the tailed beast bomb of the Five Tails. After a stalemate for a while, the tailed beast bomb was finally blocked by the third-generation Raikage. However, the explosion of the tailed beast bomb still caused a lot of casualties to Kumogakur, who was closer. Raikage in its heyday, it can definitely easily form a tailed beast bomb with Five Tails, and it will not be so embarrassing. But the current three-generation Raikage has been seriously injured by the rock giant, and now he can block tailed beast bomb, but also rely on perseverance in his heart. Tailed beast bomb is the last straw that overwhelmed the three generations of Raikage. Hyuga-chen, despicable villain, can't you tell me what to do? I immediately came to Raikage's side and helped him up. Hey you believe the enemy's words. I have to say that you are really naive, and I didn't shoot, it was my psychic beast. Hyuga-chen said with a sneer. How could the Five Tails become your psychic beast? Three generations of Raikage pushed away I who was supporting him and stood in the middle of the battlefield with difficulty. Why should I tell you? Hyuga-chen sat on Wu-Wei's body and yawned. Third generation of Raikage's face was as gloomy as water, and now he was in a dilemma. Named Hyuga-chen in front of them. If they retreat, they must be prepared to prevent Hyuga-chen from attacking them. Surrender. Do you feel that your Kumogakur can still hold on? Surrender is the best choice for you. Hyuga-chen said lightly. Third generation of Raikage was silent. He was unwilling to surrender like this. Surrender is not as simple as talking about it. The loser has to compensate. No one will choose to surrender as long as they can't support it, because they can't afford to hurt. Looking at the hesitant third-generation Raikage, Hyuga-chen shook his head. Those who can't see the truth are the most stupid. Knowing that there is no chance of victory, he didn't hurry to think about minimizing the loss. Instead, he wanted to make a comeback. I don't know if it was greedy enough to swallow the elephant, or it was really stupid. Give you two choices, either choose to surrender, or die here. Hyuga-chen said in a flat voice. Want to make a surrender, wishful thinking, my Kumogakure ninja will die in vain. I shouted. Do you think you'll be awesome if you have a loud voice? Life and death, you choose for yourself. Hyuga-chen glanced at Ai, who was yelling with disdain, and said in a flat voice. 3 generations of Reikage looked at Hyuga-chen, who looked indifferent, with a wry smile on his face. Looking at Hyuga-chen's current posture, did they still have a choice? Choose not to surrender, and then fight with Hyuga-chen to the end. The losses are far more serious than surrender. We Kumogakure surrender, 3 generations of Reikage said with a sigh. At this time, the 3rd generation of Reikage was tall and strong, slightly hunched, and his body was a lot older. Father, are we just surrendering like this? The revenge of the dead Kumogakure brothers, is this the end? I shouted reluctantly. Alas! 3 generations of Reikage sighed, and then said earnestly, as the shadow of the village, we must focus on the overall situation. I lowered his head and said nothing. He knew that the current situation was very clear. As long as Hyuga-chen shot, they would have no room to fight back. Surrender is the best choice now, but he is not reconciled and sacrificed so many people. When they came out, they were full of fighting spirit, but when they went back, they lost most of the ninjas who trusted them, which made him swallow this breath. There is no way to explain this to the villagers in the village. Kumogakure all bowed their heads, relieved, but also very confused. Contrary to Konoha, they didn't expect that. Kumogakure just surrendered, but then it was ecstasy. Waving his arms, there was laughter, and even some excited tears flowed out. More than a year of war has made them disgusted with war. No one wants to see a brother who is still laughing and laughing one second, falling into eternal sleep the next moment. While people yearn for interests, and do not even hesitate to start wars because of interests, they are also afraid and abhorred of wars. It has to be said that human nature is the most contradictory. Now that Kumogakure had surrendered, even White Fang, who had always been serious, showed a tired smile. Continuously fighting against Kumogakure, especially having to hold down 3 generations of Reikage, Hitaki Sakumo is the most exhausted in this battlefield, and now Kumogakure surrenders, which also makes him relieved. After 3 generations of Reikage surrendered, he withdrew with Kumogakure, and then handed over the surrender agreement to Konoha the next day. Seeing the surrender agreement submitted by Kumogakure, Hitaki Sakumo frowned. Although Kumogakure surrendered, he did not intend to compensate Konoha much, and the compensation was tens of millions of taels. Tens of millions of taels at most is the material money for a small-scale war, and it is nothing at all. This Kumogakure is too much. We must not let them go. They dare to threaten us, so what if we go to war? Uchiha said angrily. In the end, Kumogakure actually said that if they didn't accept it, they would start the war again. It was too much. A loser dared to threaten them. If there is another war, don't look for me. Hyuga-chen glanced at the surrender book, then turned and left. Them to surrender Kumogakure, Hyuga-chen is already in a good mood. If he fights Kumogakure again because of interests, Hyuga-chen will not be a nanny. Chapter 117 A Megakure Exit. Hyuga-chen who was leaving, the people in the tent fell silent. If Hyuga-chen didn't make a move, would they be able to win against Kumogakure? White Fang, you are the commander-in-chief here. It is up to you to decide whether to accept the surrender or not. Chief Nara said. Yes, you are the coach, we listen to you. You are the commander here, make your decision. Everyone gave Hitaki Sakumo the opportunity to make a choice. After all, Hitaki Sakumo is the coach here. This kind of indecision naturally let Hitaki Sakumo make up his mind. Hitaki Sakumo couldn't make up his mind either, and after a long silence he said, let's leave this matter to the 3 generations of Hokage to decide. After Hitaki Sakumo finished speaking, everyone nodded. After that, Hitaki Sakumo quickly passed the news to Sarutobi Hiruzen, waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen's decision. But these have nothing to do with Hyuga-chen. At this time, Hyuga-chen has left the battlefield and appeared in Taki Ninja Village. The purpose is naturally for Nanao, and now Hyuga-chen has stepped on the waste Nanao. What a waste! Hyuga-chen got the Nanao chakra he wanted, and Nanao, who couldn't fly even if he lay on the ground, pulled Conan around and left. Now Hyuga-chen has all the chakras in his hands except the three-tailed and six-tailed chakras. As long as the chakras of the nine-tailed beasts are collected, Hyuga-chen can try to summon the dragon. Aha! Is the attempt to blend into Ten-Tails chakra. ... What? Hyuga-chen killed 3,000 ninjas in Kumogakure. Now Kumogakure is about to surrender, and Wu-wei was captured by Hyuga-chen as a psychic beast. Onoki stood up. Yuhi's big wine nose became more Yuhi, and there was an angry look on his face, and the five tails were actually taken away by Hyuga-chen, and Onoki's heart was going to go wrong. 3 generations of Kazekage and Hanzo of the salamander also darkened. What do we do now? Kumogakure's bastards have surrendered, what should we do? Hanzo asked while looking at the two of them. Hanzo, you are also the leader of a village. Can you always ask others if you have something, so you can't use your own mind? What did you say? Are you calling me brainless? Hanzo picked up the scythe next to him and stood up. The atmosphere at the scene solidified, and Onoki and Hanzo collided with each other, and they were in a stance that they would do it if they disagreed. Enough, if you want to fight, you can do whatever you want after the war, but for now, please focus on the bigger picture. 3 generations of Kazekage stood up and stood in front of Onoki and Hanzo. If it wasn't for Sunagakure's own unbearable pressure from Konoha, the 3 generations of Kazekage would not have done such a thankless thing. Even if Onoki and Hanzo were out of their minds, the 3 generations of Kazekage would not take a second look. But now they are grasshoppers on a rope. If Onoki and Hanzo do fight, their fragile alliance will also be dissolved, and their Sunagakure will not be far from surrender. For Kazekage's sake, I'll let you go today. Don't think that you have the title of a demigod, so you can stare at me, but you're just the leader of a small village. Onoki said disdainfully. Others may be afraid of Hanzo, but he is not afraid at all. If you have the ability, come and block my Jinten particle style. Hanzo held the scythe and wanted to swing it, but the 3-generation Kazekage, who was quick to respond, immediately stopped Hanzo. This is the headquarters, not the place where you quarreled. Now the situation is so severe, you still have the heart to quarrel. 3 generations of Kazekage scolded. I know that you look down on my Omegakure village and think that we are a small village. Today I will quit Hanzo. Hanzo smashed the table with his palm and shouted loudly. Anyway, Hanzo was fed up with bird anger here. These 2 guys were allies on the surface, but when did they give him a good face? We look arrogant and despise in front of him all day long. We should be despised by you because we are a small village. What did you say? Believe it or not, I'll take Iwagakure to destroy your Omegakure village now. Onoki said with an angry face. Hey destroying my Omegakure village, you are worthy of it. What are you pretending to be in front of me? If you really have the ability, go to Hyuga-chen and pretend. Hanzo sneered and sneered. Hanzo, don't go too far. 3 generations of Kazekage said coldly. I'm too much. It's you who are too much. Today I left with Omegakure. I see who of you dares to stop me. Hanzo's expression was cold and murderous in his eyes. Hanzo is known as a demigod in the ninja world. Naturally, he has a few brushes. Just because of the poison in his body, he cannot be blocked by ordinary people. Hanzo, are you serious? 3 generations of Kazecage's face became more and more bad. That's right, the current situation is impossible to win, and there is no need for us Omegakure to be cannon fodder for you. Hanzo was extremely determined. Every time they fight, their Omegakure is sent to be the vanguard, and Hanzo has long been dissatisfied. However, there was still hope of victory before, and Hanzo could barely endure it, but now it is impossible to win. Their Omegakure quit as soon as possible, and preserving their strength is the best choice. Hanzo left without hesitation, and no one stopped him. What Onoki said before about destroying Omegakure village was actually just angry words. If Omegakure village was easily destroyed, they would not have cooperated with Hanzo in the first place. The news of Omegakure's withdrawal, of course, could not be concealed from Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was still hesitant, agreed to Kumogakure's surrender immediately, allowing Hatake Tsukumo to hurry to the battlefield of the Land of Rain and end the war completely. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen sent Orochimaru and Jiraiya to attack the village of Omegakure with 1,000 ninjas. Hanzo participated in this war. Of course Sarutobi Hiruzen would not let him go easily. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't even think about destroying Omegakure village, but wanted to make Hanzo surrender and pay Konoha war reparations. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen took the Konoha ninja and attacked Iwagakure and Sunagakure. Onoki and 3 generations of Kazekage looked at the menacing Konoha and could only choose to avoid the edge for a while. The withdrawal of Omegakure was a big blow to Iwagakure and Sunagakure. First, it was a blow to the momentum, and the second was the weakening of the strength. Don't look at Iwagakure and Sunagakure as 2 villages, but there were too many ninjas killed by Hyuga Chen before, and now the 2 villages together are about the same as Konoha. Moreover, the Konoha ninjas on the Kumogakure battlefield will also be liberated with the surrender of Kumogakure, and it is estimated that they will reach the Rain Country battlefield in a few days. When Onoki and the 3rd generation of Kazekage saw this scene, their hair turned white with worry. What should I do? Are you going to surrender? Kazekage 3 generations asked unwillingly. Onoki gave Kazekage a dissatisfied look. Could it be that if you surrender, Konoha will let you go easily? Konoha's loss is not small. Even if you surrender, Konoha will bite you hard. I'm not laughing at you, but the economic situation of your Sunagakure village can withstand the blood of Konoha. 3 generations of Kazekage fell silent, because of their geographical location. Although the country of the wind was the country with the largest territory, it was not rich at all. If after they surrendered, the Konoha lions opened their mouths, what would they do to fight back? Chapter 118 Naoki leaves. Originally had the intention of surrender, put away the idea of surrender after hearing Onoki's words. Onoki breathed a sigh of relief as well, finally fooling him. If Sunagakure surrendered, how would they Iwagakure fight Konoha? In the days that followed, Konoha fought with Iwagakure and Sunagakure. Although Konoha had the advantage, he was unable to take down Iwagakure and Sunagakure. Hyuga-chan and Konan slowly walked towards the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Suddenly, Hyuga-chan stopped. Then Hyuga-chan grabbed Konan's hand, stepped into the space crack, and came to a dark space. Don't be silly. Looking at Naoki who was like a headless fly, Hyuga-chan said lightly. Naoki turned his head sharply with excitement in his eyes. Chen, why are you here too? This is my space. Of course I'm here. Let's go out first. Hyuga-chan put his hand on Naoki's shoulder and took Konan with the other, stepping into the space crack again. It was so dark there just now. It's better to be outside. Naoki said with a deep breath. Is it calculated? Almost died. Hyuga-chan asked. If it wasn't for Naoki's life-threatening danger, it would not have touched Takatianyuan and the space imprint at all. Naoki's expression immediately turned ugly, and he said in a low voice, why did the people from Konoha attack me? When he was transporting supplies in the rear, he was stabbed by his own people, and Naoki was shocked at that time. It's normal. I'm also from Konoha. Didn't I still stab the ninjas of the Sarutobi and Shimura families? Hyuga-chan said indifferently. Naoki opened his mouth and looked at Hyuga-chan speechlessly. If it was before, Naoki would definitely accuse Hyuga-tatsu loudly, but now he can't say what he accuses. You saved your life now, don't go back to Konoha village, or I won't save you a second time. Hyuga-chan patted Naoki's shoulder and said. What? Do you want to go back and have your Hokage dreams? Even if I don't go back to Konoha village, where can I go? Naoki said in confusion. His home is in Konoha, where can he go without Konoha? Hyuga-chan looked at Naoki, then touched his chin. To be honest, Hyuga-chan doesn't know where Naoki is going. His strength is the elite Chunin. This strength is in the chaotic ninja world, and even self-defense is not easy. Why don't you find a remote place first and improve your strength first? If you are strong, you can go wherever you want, even if you go back to Konoha. Hyuga-chen suggested after thinking for a while. Naoki's strength can only be this way, otherwise even if he returns to Konoha and stays in the village and never comes out, he is definitely in danger. That guy Danzo, even if Naoki was in the village, he dared to shoot him. But the village. Don't do it. The village is going to kill you. The village that is still farting at this time, you can go by yourself. I will take Tsunade to see you when I have time. Hyuga-chan waved his hand at Naoki. Anyway, Naoki has the space coordinates left by Hyuga-chan on his body, so he is not afraid that he will get lost. After hesitating for a long time, Naoki finally chose to listen to Hyuga-chen, but did not return to Konoha. He was still very concerned about Konoha's people who killed him. He must find out who was instructing him in the future. If it wasn't for Hyuga Tatsu's transcription seal, Naoki would have been stabbed to death by his own person in the back. Even though he loves the village so much, he can't stand this situation. This is Naoki's kindness. If it was someone else, they might have thought about killing them and taking revenge. Watching Naoki leave, Hyuga-chen also pulled Konan away. Although Naoki is weak, but the strength of the elite Chunin, as long as he doesn't kill himself, generally nothing will happen. Playing all the way, after more than 10 days, Hyuga-chen slowly brought Konan to the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Seeing Hyuga-chen, the 3 generations of Hokage and Danzo both turned ashen, and their expressions could not wait to eat him. I didn't expect that I, a little Jonin, would be so honored that the 3 generations of Hokage came to greet me in person. Hyuga-chan said with a smile. This time Kumogakure was able to surrender, thanks to Hyuga Jonin. The 3rd generation of Hokage said with a smile. Hyuga-chan, let me ask you, how did the Sarutobi clan and our Shimura clan die? Danzo's tone was even worse. After Danzo finished asking, the atmosphere fell into silence, no one spoke, and all looked at Hyuga-chen. In the battlefield, it's normal for a few people to die. Does Danzo's assistant need to make such a fuss? Hyuga-chen said flatly. Danzo was choked and speechless, angry and annoyed. Can he object? Just like what Hyuga-chen said, it is normal for people to die on the battlefield, but if thousands of people die once they die, it is their 2 families who are still alive. Is this normal? All of this is due to Danzo's assisted leadership. You Shimura family members are not afraid of death. I tried my best to stop it, but I didn't stop it. All the Shimura family members died in battle. I feel very guilty about this. However, Hyuga-chen said that he was guilty, but there was no guilt expression on his face, and he even had a smile on his face. Then, ignoring the ugly faces of the 3 generations of Hokage and Danzo, Hyuga-chen walked towards Tsunade, Makoto and the others. Pulling Tsunade and the others away, he didn't care about Sarutobi Hiruzen and the Konoha ninjas who came to greet them. This Hyuga-chen is too arrogant. Ignore us at all. After all, he's a teenage brat and doesn't understand manners at all. Before, I thought he could be a Hokage. It doesn't seem worthy of him now. It's just a bit of strength, but he doesn't put anyone in his eyes. I don't think he can be a big one. Konoha's Jonin talked a lot. Just now, Hyuga-chen didn't look at them at all, which made them very upset. Now, after seeing Hyuga-chen walk away, they began to vent their dissatisfaction. Damn, I'm going to beat them up. Kushina got angry and I clenched my fists. Next to Makoto, 3 Tomo appeared in the eyes. These bastards are a bit too much. Tsunade frowned slightly. You don't have to bother with a group of ants, it's meaningless, it will only lower your identity. Hyuga-chen shook his head and said. He only talks about other people behind their backs, these people are so good in this life, Hyuga-chen looks down on them at all. Back in the small earthen house Hyuga-chen built by himself, Hyuga-chen looked at Tsunade and said, Naoki has left. Tsunade nodded subconsciously first, then after hearing Hyuga-chen's words clearly, he reacted, looking at Hyuga-chen questioningly. After that, Hyuga-chen gave Naoki's experience in general. In fact, Hyuga-chen only understood a general idea, and Naoki didn't say the specific situation. After Hyuga-chen finished speaking, Tsunade was furious and smashed the incomparably strong wall with one punch. I'm going to Sandai to ask for an explanation. Tsunade was about to go out angrily. Hyuga-chen reached out and pulled Tsunade back. What do you want to explain? You don't have any evidence to prove that it was the top of Konoha who did it. It's no use to go. Hyuga-chen said softly. Chapter 119 Time Ability. Don't tell me that. Naoki almost died. When my grandma was dying, she told me to take good care of Naoki. This time Naoki almost died. This is absolutely not to be forgotten. Tsunade said angrily. Tsunade didn't expect that Konoha would really dare to attack Naoki. Fortunately, Hyuga-chen had the means left behind, otherwise Tsunade would have to blame himself for the rest of his life. The more Tsunade thought about it, the more angry he became, the more he thought about it, and finally he couldn't hold it any longer, so he ran to Sarutobi Hiruzen to discuss the explanation. Hyuga-chen looked at Tsunade who was furious and followed. Running to the main Konoha headquarters, Tsunade asked Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily, Sandai, what's going on with Naoki? The three generations were startled, and then said with a sad face. You know it all. Hey, I was afraid that you would be sad, but I wanted to hide it from you. Naoki was a good boy, but unfortunately, he was unlucky. He was attacked by Sunagaker in the rear and unfortunately died in battle. Haha Tsunade sneered twice. If she didn't know the specific situation, she might still believe the rhetoric of the third generation, but hearing this rhetoric now, it feels like listening to a joke. This rhetoric should have destroyed a lot of your brain cells. Tsunade said coldly. The third generation of Hokage was taken aback. I'll ask you again, what's going on? Who is going to kill Naoki, and does it have anything to do with you? Tsunade lowered her head, making it impossible to see her expression. Tsunade, you're not misunderstanding anything, are you? Why would anyone want to kill Naoki? Hey Tsunade laughed. If Sandai had said everything directly, Tsunade might have forgiven him, but now. Tsunade clenched his fist and punched the third Hokage, so fast that he couldn't dodge. Boom. Third Hokage received a punch from Tsunade in the front, and was knocked out, and the ribs on his chest were broken into several pieces. Tsunade, how dare you attack Hokage? The ninja guarding the three generations of Hokage was stunned for a moment before he reacted. He took out his ninja gear and looked at Tsunade vigilantly. Tsunade's attack was so sudden that even the three generations of Hokage didn't react, let alone the guarding ninjas. You guys should sleep peacefully for a while. Hyuga-chen, who was behind Tsunade, glanced at them, and a group demonic illusion brought all these ninjas down. 3 generations, the master-disciple relationship between us is completely over today. Tsunade said coldly, then pulled Hyuga-chen and turned to leave. Sarutobi Hiruzen got up in pain and said nothing. He knew that Tsunade had left his hand this time. If he attacked with all his strength, he would have gone to the previous generation to drink tea now. But now Tsunade has completely cut off his mentoring relationship with him, which is also a blow to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Danzo, cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't blame Danzo, because he had acquiesced to Danzo's behavior before. Thank you, Chen. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know how to face my grandma even if I died. The relationship between us, don't you need to say thank you? Do you want to see Naoki? After thinking for a while, Tsunade shook his head. Forget it, Naoki is disobedient. Let him remember this time, think quietly, and visit him later. 3 years have passed, and Hyuga-chen has also fought on the battlefield for 3 years. During these 3 years, he has not killed a single enemy. The same is true for Tsunade. She was completely disappointed with Konoha, but she only helped Konoha to stop Chiyo, the cage-level puppet master, and it was considered her last effort for Konoha. Kushina and Makoto are also the same as Hyuga-chen, but the three of them are known as the Battlefield Chan Oil Trio. In the past 3 years, Hyuga-chan's physical fitness and chakra have shown explosive growth, and his combat effectiveness has also risen sharply. In 3 years, what Hyuga-chen has researched the most is Tenseigren's ability to control time. In 3 years, Hyuga-chen has also achieved a lot of results. Now Hyuga-chen can instantly accelerate the time within a radius of 50 meters for decades, and can also reverse the time within 5 meters by 10 seconds. This is already very powerful. Time acceleration can instantly deprive the opponent of decades of time, and time reversal is the strongest life-saving magic skill. As long as the time is reversed, in addition to the consumption of pupil power, whether it is the injury, or the consumption of chakra and physical strength, all can return to the state of 10 seconds ago. And, the time stop that Hyuga-chen attaches the most importance to is the key to immortality, and it is also what Hyuga-chen studies the most. After Hyuga-chen's unremitting efforts, it is true that the time of an object can be suspended forever, but the suspended object cannot move and maintains the posture when the time was suspended. But this is useless, and it is directly suspended to freeze everything. What is the difference between that and death? The past 3 years, Hyuga-chen has researched time ability, but also how to live forever. In fact, research on time ability is also for immortality. After finally passing through once and gaining a powerful power, Hyuga-chen must not be reconciled to turning into a Lois after 100 years. So he must find a way to pursue immortality, and his desire for immortality is no less than Orochimaru. In the past 3 years, Hyuga-chen has come up with 3 ways to achieve immortality. One of them is to rely on the ability of time to freeze the flow of his own time without affecting his own life activities. Other is like Otsutsuki Kagaya, eating the fruit of the god tree, and then becoming 10 tails, gaining the ability of immortality and immortality. The last one is the system. Immortality is just a trivial matter for the system. There are many items in the system store. Among these 3 methods, Hyuga-chen still prefers the first one, and the second method can only make himself immortal, which was abandoned by Hyuga-chen first. Go to the system to exchange for items that increase lifespan. Sorry Hyuga-chen, a poor guy, can't exchange it. So the first method is the best, although it still can't be successful, but Hyuga-chen has found the problem. Insufficient understanding of time. Tenseigren's pupil power is not enough. As long as one of these 2 problems is solved, Hyuga-chen estimates that he can achieve immortality. The understanding of time needs to be taken slowly. This can't be rushed. Now Hyuga-chen can only start on Tenseigren's pupil power, and the increase in Tenseigren's pupil power will also make Hyuga-chen understand time better. Although Hyuga-chan's pupil power is almost infinite, it's only close to it, but it's actually a lot worse. There are 3 ways to increase pupil strength. One is to increase the strength to 6 paths, then Tenseigren's pupil strength will naturally skyrocket, forming a qualitative leap. The second is to grow slowly by yourself, but this takes a lot of time. The third way is to plunder and absorb other people's pupil power, and then enhance their own pupil power. Among these 3 methods, Hyuga-chen chose the third one without hesitation, which was the most likely to be completed by Hyuga-chen in a short period of time. Chapter 120 I don't want my face anymore, where's the skin from? However, if you want to plunder your pupil power, you must have an object, such as the 3-tomo Sharingan. Hyuga-chen doesn't like it at all. At least Mangekyo Sharingan can be seen by Hyuga-chen, and it is not something that 1 or 2 pairs of Mangekyo can solve if you want to strengthen Tenseigen's pupil power. It is estimated that at least hundreds of pairs of Mangekyo will be effective. Even if the Uchiha family is sold, they will not be able to get so many Mangekyo Sharingan. In addition to Mangekyo Sharingan, the only thing left to do is to capture Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan, and Hyuga-chan's eyes twinkled. He doesn't care whose Rinnegan, as long as it works for him, it's his. For my immortality, it looks like I'm going to attack Madara's eyes. Hyuga-chen looked at the Kingdom of Rain, his eyes twinkling. Sky, Hyuga-chen looked at the full moon in the night sky. Today is the night of the full moon. Compared with the moon a few years ago, the moon now has a gap and is not so round. Why did you forget this? Hyuga-chen patted his head. Looking at the moon in the night sky, Hyuga-chen seemed to see Tensagen beckoning to him. I don't know if the giant Tensagen was made. If it wasn't made, I wouldn't mind making a giant Tensagen myself. Hyuga-chen said silently, with light shining in his eyes. Taking a deep breath, for the sake of safety, Hyuga-chen did not choose to go to the moon now. A year later, when my physical strength is improved to ultimate, it will be the day I land on the moon. Cherish the time of this year. Hyuga-chen squinted at the moon in the sky, his eyes filled with murderous intent. If the giant Tensagen has been made, Hyuga-chen will snatch it. If the giant Tensagen has not been made, Hyuga-chen will kill and gouge out the eyes and make the giant Tensagen himself. Regardless of whether the giant Tensagen is made or not, the Otsutsuki clan on the moon will be in trouble, because they are being targeted by a terrifying demon. The ruthless Hyuga-chen will not show mercy to the Otsutsuki clan on the moon, and they will only have to destroy it. What are you looking at? The eyes are scary to death. Kushina reached out and pushed him. Hyuga-chen regained his senses after being pushed. The murderous aura in his eyes subsided and disappeared, and then reached out and pinched Kushina's pretty nose. Don't pinch my nose, Kushina said, taking Hyuga-chen's hand away. Makoto made a late-night snack. Do you want to eat it? I was full by dinner time, but Makoto was made, so it would be a waste if I didn't eat it. Just tell me if you want to eat. Why are you going around in such a big circle? I really don't understand you. Kushina gave Hyuga-chen a contemptuous look. Hyuga-chen reached out and tapped Kushina's head lightly, and said with a chuckle, what do you know? You know you've hit me on the head. Kushina pouted in disgust, reached out and squeezed hard on Hyuga-chen's waist. Hyuga-chen smiled helplessly. Kushina really doesn't like to suffer at all. Inside the house, Tsunade, Makoto, and Konan were already sitting at the table waiting. Hyuga-chen came over and sat down, then picked up the sake on the table, poured himself a glass, and drank it. Very sweet. What are you doing outside? Are you thinking of some pretty girl? Tsunade joked. Alas, Tsunade, how did you know? Hyuga-chen looked at Tsunade in shock. What? You're really thinking of a little girl for my mother? Tsunade stood up and looked at Hyuga-chen aggressively. Makoto, who was smiling softly, was now enveloped in darkness, and stared at Hyuga-chen with a pair of incomparably terrifying eyes. Kushina, who was following behind Hyuga-chen, had her hair already floating up. Even Konan, who was sitting at the table and didn't speak, couldn't help but pouted and looked at Hyuga-chen with dissatisfaction. A drop of cold sweat broke out from Hyuga-chen's head, but he didn't expect a joke to be taken seriously. The little girl I think is of course you, Hyuga-chen said with a smile on his face. Tsunade pulled back his momentum and sat down, Makoto's gentle smile again, as if nothing had happened. Kushina's fluttering hair also fell, and Konan, who was sitting at the table, also showed a sweet smile. You can talk, Kushina smiled. What does it mean to be able to talk? I don't want you to think about anyone. Do you still think I can think of other women? Am I that kind of person? Hyuga-chen said angrily. Tsunade's 3 daughters, including Konan, all looked at Hyuga-chen with contempt, making Hyuga-chen a little embarrassed. Who are you? Don't you have a clue in your heart? Tsunade looked at Hyuga-chen with contempt. Chen, you are very lewd, and you have been a big pervert since you were a child. I remember you molested me on the first day of school. Makoto told what happened when he first entered school, which attracted all the girls to attack him for a while. Big satyr, he was already a pervert big satyr when he was young. Kushina despised Hyuga-chen. It turns out that Brother Chen has been a pervert since he was a child. It's really scary. Conan showed a frightened expression. Faced with the ridicule of the girls, Hyuga Chen said nonchalantly, "Men. Is there something wrong with sex? Is there something wrong with pervert? What happened to the pervert? What happened to pervert? I'm proud, I'm proud." It's not just a satyr, this face is also unparalleled. Tsunade said speechlessly. The thickness of this face, I'm afraid he can't penetrate it. The strongest defense is not Chen's face, right? I have thick skin, how can I not feel it? I don't even want my face, where is the skin? Hyuga Chenkuo said shamelessly. The girls are speechless now, looking at their cheeks as thick as a city wall. No. It's the shameless Hyuga Chen, they can only say the word, serving. Looking at the girls who admired him, Hyuga Chen was elated. You actually said that I am thick-skinned, and I don't even want my face. How can you say that I am thick-skinned? Girls were even more speechless. They didn't understand what was so complacent about 2.2. Is it such a glorious thing to be shameless? Faces are important when you care, and useless garbage when you don't. Hyuga-chan said with a smile. Anyway, we can't make you so shameless. Kushina complained. Eat, if you don't start, I will eat it all. Hyuga Chen reminded. Much supper at first, and Hyuga Chen didn't delay eating when he was talking, and now half of it has entered Hyuga Chen's stomach. You don't want to eat it, leave some for us. Kushina said angrily, looking at the snacks that had disappeared nearly half of the table. Hyuga Chen laughed loudly and said, who told you to just talk?